Hello and welcome to another episode of My Opinion Means Nothing. This week I am joined by Ro.
Hi there guys, my name's Ro.
How you doing, man?
Well, good, thanks, and yourself, man. Thank you very much for having me on today, Matzo.
Oh, you're very welcome, man. No, I'm good, thanks. So, I don't know if you've listened to the show before, but basically the structure of the show is I'll do like what's happening in the world, and then I'll talk about maybe I've got random facts, so I'll share the random facts with you, and then maybe at the end I'll give you a little interview.
Sweet, bro. I listened to the one with Sean. He was speaking about the plastic and all that kind of stuff. I listened to part of that one. That was pretty sick. Yeah, man.
Cool. So basically, I'll start with the first story, which will be start with a nice one. It's about the world record that's just been broken. It's an Instagram world record, but it's Guinness World Record nevertheless, So Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they have broken a record today for starting their, I think it's today. Anyway, today? 3rd? It's the 3rd of April, right?
3rd of April, yeah.
Then this is today.
WrestleMania's on like Sunday, I reckon it's the 3rd today,
Yeah, so they broke the record today for getting 1 million followers within 5 hours and 45 minutes.
That's mad, bro. And it shows just how popular the royals actually are. You know what I mean? Everybody's always bad-mouthing the royals. I suppose maybe these two, Meghan and Harry, aren't classified as being like in the same basket as the Queen and all that. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
They seem a little bit more normal or something like that.
Maybe it's more because Meghan Markle's kind of high profile as she is. Like I think she had to delete all her social media accounts when she was getting married to Prince William, so I guess it's kind of like any of her followers were probably like, oh, Meghan Markle's back.
Yeah, Meghan Markle's back, top back on that.
Top
back. That's a good shot, I reckon that's definitely a part of it.
So, I mean, like you said, it does show like they are pretty popular, so...
I think overall it's like probably two things. It's a good thing for England. And like Britain, because it shows that obviously there's hope in terms of the royals still being popular and stuff like that. But it also shows like the cult of personality, and I think a lot of the time these days the only reason why these people are getting the followers and that is because people are interested in their life. And I think we have got this kind of a celebrity culture where we like idolize people for no reason. So at the end of the day, these are just a couple married and that, but millions of people want to see into their life.
That's what I mean. We actually are. It's like we're obsessed with other people's lives.
Yeah, it's the truth, and it's like a sad joke there.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're gonna go do that and then post pictures on the exact same platform of Instagram, hoping that people will come like our pictures, fully aware that I only got like a few followers and they get 1 million in 5 hours. And I'm hustling, trying to post the best pictures I can, bro. Best poems I can. I rock face paints and everything like that. And they get 1 million in 5 hours. It's mad.
That's what I mean, like before Prince William and Meghan Markle, I believe it was the Korean pop star Kang Daniel who made I think he got it in 11 hours. 11 hours and 30 minutes he got to 1 million. Before him, he beat the Pope, who got
Instagram.
He got 1 million followers in 12 hours.
You think the Pope slides into DMs?
Be faithful.
Be faithful, my son. Yeah, man. Like, dude, it's a career, but it's cult of personality, man.
Yeah, man.
You can probably put those two and all those guys in the same bracket as people like The Rock and stuff like that, where they're just these mega stars in this day and age, in an age where pop culture has become such a like overlapping part of normal culture. It's now like it's crazy how we idolize people.
What do you think about the idea that like if you're not on social media, do you trust someone?
Oh, that's a good question, Like it's what do you do? Because now it's become normal in inverted commas to be online and be in a social media. So you either have to think this person is super like actually not woke in the term that it gets stroked around in, but like unplugging from all that social media life is, I think, better for you. But at the same time, all your friends are plugged in, and it does have a really big harmless layer to it, where all you're doing is catching up with your mates. So I think some people maybe either go extreme and they completely cut themselves out, or maybe they like freaking on they ex-murderers or something and they're trying not to get caught by cops, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's true, like, because I've been, no, actually, I won't mention that on
Yeah, we'll leave that one out.
That thought should stay in my head.
Yeah, what you got next on the
next, right. Next, I'll bring up this one. Oh, what? Not that, this.
Alright, yeah.
So, I was scrolling through my news app, as I do, to find news, and I found this article which made me chuckle. It says that Britons are to be banned from mini sausages, cheddar cheese and pork pies to the EU after a no-deal Brexit. So people entering the people entering the EU from the UK will now be checked for animal-based products and face being branded as smugglers.
Smuggler because you can have a pork pie. Hey, jeez, bro. You know, I think it's a joke, but in all honesty, stuff like this, it's imagine you get arrested and you're in the nick somewhere in Germany and they say, why are you here? And you're like, so I bought a sausage on the plane or something like that, then you end up in a criminal record. Stuff like this, in my personal opinion, is just more rubbish from people high up top who are, and also unfortunately shows the true colours of how they want these negotiations to go, because surely you would think people would be saying we want to keep stuff as civil as possible. If you're going to be getting petty and saying you can't bring a sausage roll here, then what kind of a deal do you think we're going to get between one another? You know what I mean? If the British government is daft enough to tell the French to stop bringing in French wine, then okay, then you're talking. But until then, it's just people being daft, bro. And if you've ever been on a stag do, I highly doubt they're going to have any luck getting British people off of a plane. You know what I mean? We've all been there, done that. And I've not been a ridey dude and got him kicked off, but stuff like that. And it's also, I think, detracts from what's really important in the conversation. And this is why people, I think, a lot of the time are getting tired of Brexit and treating it like a joke, because you got these EU dudes saying don't bring in your pork pie. And it's like, come on, bro.
I mean, it's also all these other things that we just generally we didn't think about when we voted. True. Or we weren't made aware of the facts when we voted. That's all more so than anything is. And also it's kind of like, it's kind of funny because like the whole world is watching this. We live in this age where it's not like you can have these closed door meetings and like only certain people in the world will figure out what's going on. Like everyone will know. The moment it happens, it hits the news, and the whole world is like commenting on what bullshit that's going on. Yeah, it's entertainment. That's why I think quite recently when I got older, it's only then I started taking more of an interest into politics. Okay. And it's kind of just like another entertainment platform, you know?
Same dude. I feel the exact same, man. And unfortunately, you're right, man. I also started to get more into my politics. Like when I was 16 years old, my first tattoo was Che Guevara. That's how I was like super lefty. Yeah. As I've grown older, like I learned he did a whole lot of bad stuff. Wanted to get that covered up and whatever. And I've gotten a little bit more conservative, but I got well into my politics. I'm skeptical, both left wing and right wing, but it has turned into just a theatre show. Yeah. Where it's like, and it's specifically around when 2016, I think it was when it was Brexit and Trump, all of a sudden it was like, geez, man, this is basically turned into, you might as well watch the Geordie Shore and you're going to get the same amount of entertainment out of it. You know what I mean? And it's worrying because it shouldn't be. It should only be entertaining from the brilliant arguments they put forward to one another, not from acting like children and talking rubbish like this.
And it's even like things like the fact that we get to watch the parliament or the proceedings of what's happening, right? I've always thought that was kind of funny. I can't remember who I was talking to this about. I think it was my friend Joyce I was speaking to this about, and she was saying how it's funny that they only show you. The politicians know they're on camera when they're acting, and whatever they're saying, they know they're on camera, so they're basically doing it for the benefit of the camera. Yep. And then there's also things that they're sorting out that we kind of don't see, that these closed door meetings.
Purposefully closed door.
Yeah, exactly. And then things are sorted out and we're like, well, we sort this and this and that.
Hey dude, they only let us know so much, and I'm sorry to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist dude with absolutely no evidence to base what I'm about to say on. But I do think that those kinds of things do so quite nicely into controlling a load of people if you just let them know just enough of what's going on, and maybe just enough to get people turned against one another if they don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, or get them turned against the political class and get them to not trust them any longer, all of a sudden you realize that could actually all just be tools of manipulation.
It's true.
Very particular tools. So that's what always worried me, especially when you see some people, especially now, things are really polarized, very politically charged. People are like thinking there's crazy shit about stuff about to happen all the time or whatever. And so I think because of that, it's almost like the media and the way the politicians act is just going to light a fire underneath people and get it to go even worse, when actually especially the elites, the political class, should be conducting themselves in a way that's setting example, not acting like a toddler shouting at one another.
But I mean, it's even the way how, I guess, maybe the news is set up now. Have you actually, I don't know, maybe it's not all news stations, but I don't know, I can't remember what station I was watching, but it just felt like I was on Instagram watching the news. Like, they had like, it was just like knife crime, and then there's, do you know, like they used to have like back in the day, they used to have those funny parts. They used to have that one
light-hearted.
Now it's like
death.
Or they'll do a one whole program where everything is like all these funny things that you didn't know were news, and it's like, but
and it's like, how's this in the news?
You know,
like what?
Why are you telling me this?
It's crazy.
Tell me what's going on in the world.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Like, isn't this news? Did I turn on the right channel?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
And they never. Once I heard somebody say that the journalists will never report the aeroplanes that take off. They only report the aeroplanes that crash.
Yeah.
And they'll only get that, but also that in combination with a 24-hour network kind of style thing means that to be able to keep advertisers paying and keep people watching, they have to have something sensational going all the time. They have to have clickbait, if you like.
Yeah.
So if today there wasn't that something uber interesting going on, and maybe there was just a whole lot of good stories, they'll just be like, England's about to implode because of Brexit, and it's full of Nazis and it's full of whatever, and they'll take you to the most scary point you can get to, because then you're going to want to see what the outcome is. And it's like, all right, this seems pretty crazy, and then all of a sudden you invested, when actually for the past 3 years we've been scared of dying from nuclear war in Korea. Nothing ever happened there either.
Have you seen this film, what's it called, Nightcrawler?
I've not watched it, I've heard about it now.
It is fucking dope. It's about like this guy who basically...
Is it Jake Gyllenhaal? Is he in it?
I'm not sure the actor's name. I'm not good with actors' names.
No worries.
I know faces. You show me the picture of him, and I'm like, yeah. And you said that's Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm like, yep. I know that guy.
All right, I'll Google that in the meantime.
Yeah. So it's basically about this guy who's basically a little bit of a con man.
Okay.
He tries little bits of things here and there, and nothing's really getting in the proper big bucks, but he's getting by.
Yeah.
Then he stumbles upon this kind of job where he sees like this people filming like crashes, kind of after the crash had just happened. Like say it was a crash within the street, and some people were out of the car's sparking and shit like that. The video crew would come down, they would film all the action and kind of maybe give interviews from the first responder people who were there, film the police arriving and shit like that, and then they would sell that footage to the news station.
That's mad.
So this is obviously a real thing, because I'm assuming that most things that you see in movies are based off real things.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. He goes for the street. So he watches this guy do it first, and he's like, "Oh, cool! What's going on here?" He sees everything. Then he gets his own camera. Then he starts going down to crashes. He gets a police scanner as well. Starts turning up at the right spots and stuff like that. Figures out what crimes are going to be committed. Say it's a gunman being held up. He'll come down and see what's worth what. And then he kind of gets some footage together, gets some sort of a show reel one night, and he goes to the news station and tries to sell it.
Okay.
And then, like, once he sells his first one, then he gets bigger and better. But he's the type of person that he doesn't just want the best. He wants to, and he wants to be the best, and he wants to learn from what the best is doing right now, so he can be better.
Yes, all right. He wants to stay ahead.
Yeah, and he wants to stay ahead, and once he got the camera. Yeah, that guy. That guy.
So he's in the new Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but...
Nah, sorry. All right. So it sounds good. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's really dope. But it
ties into media, though, doesn't it?
It does tie into media.
It's like they need people to be, or like, they basically need people to be consumed with whatever they're doing if they want to get money from advertisers.
But it's more of the idea that where the film goes is like, this is a big spoiler, guys. If you're not looking for a spoiler of this film, like turn off for like 5 seconds, turn it down. Or not 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and maybe you'll miss some, skip some bits. So basically, it's just the idea that it gets to the point at the end where he's basically staging the news, staging the crime. Like I don't want to give away the story, but he stages it basically. So it's kind of that idea where like
he makes the fake news.
He's making the news happen in the way how he wants it to happen, so he can profit from it.
Okay. That's pretty good.
And it's kind of like, it makes you think that that's basically what news outlets are doing. Like and it's more of the fact that they don't really care per se of how he obtained the footage.
So long as it's good.
Yeah, so long as it's good, and so long as they can tell a narrative. And as long as, and if they can tell a narrative with it, then they can put like, maybe instead of it just being one day bulletin, they can spread it over a week. You know what I mean?
But dude,
and have people watching and keep them coming back to the station. It's all about the ratings, really and truly.
Well, the most I want to see that, but the most recent thing that I think you and I have probably both seen is when there was a thing of that little boy on the beach where it turned out the photographer first found him amongst the rocks and put his body in the middle of the beach because it would be more dramatic. So there's even stuff like that, and it's just like, really?
Exactly, things like that.
Like highs, and so that's only what we've heard of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows how much news everybody, us and the people listening to the podcast, has watched, which is absolute rubbish. And how much we will never know whether it was rubbish or not. We just basically have to hope that it's alright. Read more than one. Like what I try to do is I've got I like both Daily Wire and like Huffington Post, and it's just that you don't get stuck in your echo chamber, because I'm very bad at that, where like I'd only follow pages I agreed with or whatever. So now I try to follow even like Guardian or whatever. I'll follow those and I read their pages, just because you have to try to find the nugget of truth amongst all the different points of views that are going on. And but you know, you also that's what people have got their own agency, and the problem is with like the average news story on a day-to-day basis, nobody really has like the time or the wants to sit and look up every single little fact that they read or meditate and everything that they've heard about. They'll just say, shit, that's hectic. And then it gets implanted in your mind, and then you tell somebody, then it's even more of a fact because they've heard it from a reputable source. And so the problem is people don't have the time, you know what I mean? Like at least back in the day, but I think about it like this, back in the day, when you and my grandparents got told a lie by the news, it was kind of forgivable because all they had was like a newspaper, just a piece of paper or something on the radio. Nowadays, we can fact check anything in real time, and people still don't. And people still don't do it. It's like with the ability to do what we can do now, how aren't we more clued up than what our grandparents were?
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
It's crazy, man.
I was stumbling over this thought about kind of human beings and intelligence, kind of. It's more of the thing that it feels like, although we're so much more technologically advanced in our time, there's still things like from maybe the Egyptians' time, like the pyramids and stuff like that. We still don't know how, or not that we don't know how, we can't replicate what they were able to do back then now, even with all our technology.
So not that smart.
Exactly. It kind of begs the question: if they were able to do that without our technology, how smart were they?
I don't believe, bro.
You know,
it's crazy, man, and it's actually very humbling to think about, isn't it? And I could be wrong here, but I've heard that also they found whatever the workings out of pi in the equivalence of an Egyptian high school or something like that. Like how many years ago is that? They're already running with that.
It's even things like I don't know if you played the Assassin's Creed game.
I've seen it.
There was one where I think he was in old Italy with Leonardo da Vinci, and he was talking about all his inventions and stuff like that. A lot of the inventions that he made are like modern day stuff that we have, like the plane and stuff like that. It's just back in his time, he never had the technology to actually make his idea come to life.
Okay.
We now have the technology to make his ideas come to life.
Okay, that's great. That made me like stand up in the back of my neck, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about.
It's sad as well, because you have to wonder why. And like, especially with like the leaps in science and all that kind of stuff, was interviewing a dude a while ago. Poem I was writing about religion. He was a Methodist chap, and we were speaking about what does he think is some of the biggest problems in the world right now, and he reckons technology and internet. And the reason why he said that was he said back in the day, a rock would have been the caveman crude tool, cave person crude tool, where they would have been able to make an axe and get firewood or chop off somebody's head. Nowadays we've got the iPad, which is just a modern day crude tool, which we can either use to teach somebody how to do a heart transplant in the middle of nowhere, how to do it, or we'll sit on it instead of speak to our own friends. So I think humans are kind of falling victim to our own kind of ways.
Yeah.
Where even though we've got all this wonderful technology and all this wonderful education, we're still just going to lay in bed and watch Netflix, yeah, and that's it, and that's as advanced as what we're going to get by the looks of it. We're going to end up like Wall-E.
Yeah, it feels like we're just kind of getting lazier, or that we're just building things to make our lives easier.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy because like it's just going to carry on happening, and the more integrated that we get with the technology,
that's it.
It's like now we've got I was reading, obviously we've got Neuralink with Elon Musk and all that kind of stuff, where we're basically just going to be literally online. But the more and more that happens, the closer and closer we start living with the technology and stuff like that, think of, and it starts becoming an extension of us, then think of what kind of things we're going to do. We're going to have either people who are going to be super smart, but still with human emotions, they could just be evil geniuses, or you're going to have people who are going to be able to create these worlds of complete luxury and like paradise to do nothing. So it could go either way.
True.
But yeah, man, who knows? I think the Egyptians are a hell of a lot smarter than what we were, man.
So I mean, they had to do so much with what the little they had at their time. Well, what little that we know that they had.
Yeah, because like to us it just looks like they lived in the bloody sand with some rocks and camels.
For real.
But they managed to do all sorts of they managed to figure out the size of the earth and the circumference of the earth just by looking at the stars and stuff like that. That's mad,
that's
bro.
crazy. We can't do that now. We probably can, but like
I struggle to find my way home without City Mapper, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I live in London, and I still struggle, bro. And these guys are doing mad stuff, and they also had they had an extremely, they were pretty forward thinking in the sense that they had a very matriarchal society at stages with female pharaohs, like the boss and all that kind of stuff as well. So
it's like we've gone backwards.
It's like things are like all of a sudden things seem to be tapering back, or that like, might just be how they presented to us, but it does seem that way.
But even with like kind of, I don't know, maybe equality more so, maybe back in those times, it seems like they were more fair with, I don't know, they saw humans as one race, maybe.
I think so. I think what happens, have you ever read Akala's book, In the Ruin of Empire?
I haven't read Akala's book, no.
It's pretty good. There's some stuff there that got me a little bit hot under the collar, admittedly, but there's a hell of a lot of stuff which I loved, and he speaks about the idea of people being racialized, and when this started to happen after colonialism, and like when you think about it, I'll be racialized as these ladies, like as like any other white lady said over there, even though I'm like a dark dude, and I'm literally a different color, but we'll get racialized being the same race. And he reckons that all that stuff came about during the colonialism and that. So maybe back in the day, people wouldn't have been all daft about like, oh, you're a different color. You know what I mean? Like, just think about it for a second. It's actually extremely stupid. So maybe back in the day, they were just a little bit more. Because they hadn't overthought, they had any of that kind of manipulation or that kind of like bad influence. They were just like, all right, mate, how are you doing, kind of thing.
I think because it seems like, if you know, I don't know, it was more to do with class as opposed to as money-wise, as opposed to what person's skin tone was. Like, if you don't have the riches, then we might cast you down. But if you have it, then come chill with the party.
So I think those definitely could have been things that have played a big part in it, but you have to think why did it eventually then all come to an end and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I have no idea.
If they were like, and I praise him, I got the Eye of Ra back and the other little eye there. That's also their whole Egyptian religion was supposed to be about focus, and that's what the Lion King was loosely based off of. In other stories, is that Osiris grew woefully blind to the problems in his society. Then he was killed by his brother Set. Put his organs all over the planet, then his wife Isis went to go find it, took his scrotum, made old Horus or whatever his name was, and then he came back and avenged his father. And the whole thing was that you've got to have focus, otherwise your whole society will crumble down around you. Hence it's on the back of the dollar bill and all that kind of stuff. But it still crumbled down around them somehow.
But saying that now from that perspective, that kind of gets hidden in the Disney-fied Lion King.
Slightly. It's like they brush over that. But at least like they threw in Zizou, and that was a pretty good shot there. But although in the new movie, I think Zizou's John Oliver or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
live action.
Something like that. But yeah, man. So the Egyptian thing, it makes you think like if that culture was able to get wiped off. Imagine the one where people are freaking nowadays. What could you say is general pop culture? People are eating Tide Pods and like licking buns and all that kind of stuff. And now they're saying it's like, no, dude. Not there's anything wrong if you want to go do that. It's just like, it isn't my thing, and I definitely don't think it makes us seem in any way, shape or form more sophisticated than the Egyptians.
No.
If you consider the stuff that's going on in this day and age. All it means is that we've got shiny stuff, warm houses and tech, but from a civility point of view. And yeah, don't get me wrong, maybe the Egyptians were well worse, and I'm just brushing over this lightly. But with the amount of stuff that goes on today, you can't think that we're much better.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, man.
So I don't even know we got into the Egyptians, man.
Nah, it's cool, man. I like to go off on tangents.
Might as well.
Did you hear about the Jesse Smollett thing that happened?
Where you faked the hate crime.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
And did you hear about how he was going to be he was going to have charges pressed against him, and then the charges were dropped?
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. it's and also not only that, he didn't get his $10,000 back, which usually if you like let off into innocent, they give you 10,000 for bond or whatever it is. He didn't get that back, which is kind of like, I wonder why he didn't go to the Nick.
Yeah.
And he parted it to 10K. But the thing that really pisses me off about this, bro, is that there is unfortunately no lack of hate crimes. Yeah. There's no lack of this. You do not have to go pay, and it turned out to be two dudes from Nigeria.
Yeah. From the show,
to come in and do this. And when he walked into the hotel, apparently he still had the noose around his neck and he was eating a Subway, trying to be like all nonchalant.
I know, like.
And it's like, bro, there's people out there who are literally getting beat up, for the reasons that you falsely claimed, and he only did this for his own political agenda, which he must be crazy to think that he has to try to convince people that there's a hate crime. Like, it's like, hey, mates, we all know.
And it's more worse that you're kind of crying wolf, you know?
It's crying wolf. And it discredits a lot of the stuff that's going to come forward from here, because there's people who genuinely need to have their stories heard. And this guy is probably some millionaire living in Silicon Valley, Hollywood. That guy is now going to throw the cats amongst the pigeons. And I can tell you right now, for every dickhead of the worst end of the demographic of conservative right-wing people who always be like, oh, these silly hate crimes. What are these people complaining about being overly offended? It gives them more ammunition to be like, you see, it's fake, and so he actually did the movement bad. He did the movement bad. If he wanted to do anything, why doesn't he take his money and his wealth and go set up a centre for people who have had hate crimes committed against them? And it's like all he does is give the bad guys ammunition to be like, look at this dickhead. And it's actually what's going on in this guy's mind, that he actually, imagine you sat there one night and you think, let me text these blokes and organise a fake thing. What's going on in his life to think that that's a normal thing to do?
That's what I mean.
And the other guys had to come forward and come clean themselves, so they obviously felt bad doing it. So he's effectively throwing these guys under the bus as well. Because they came out and said, listen, mate, actually, we don't. They obviously second guessed it and thought maybe they don't want to be involved, and now they look like dicks because of him.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, come on, bro, this is what you're going to do to people who immigrate to your country for a better life. You're going to do that to them.
And it's kind of just more so. It just seemed, the whole thing seemed like a joke anyway from the drop, because what racist person is watching Empire?
They're not.
Tracy Morgan said this recently, but it's like true. But there's that racist. They're like, fuck you know what? I'm gonna sit here and watch the whole season. Well, that season was good. I hate him still, but that was good.
Damn it, it's good TV.
Well, you say 3 seasons? I said it. I stay for the entertainment, but after that, I'll go back to hating them.
I still hate them. But that's the truth, bro, isn't it? It's like, and until you said, I didn't actually think about that until you said it, to be quite honestly, man. But I highly doubt there's any Nazi dude being like, let me or Atlanta, let me watch that. That looks like it's just my show. It's like, nah, they're probably watching like movies from the 50s and the 60s and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Back before PC had a good positive influence on film and stuff like that. That's what they're watching.
Yeah, they're invested into our culture.
So I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. It's going to. One thing, it's probably going to be good for the series because that's given a lot of publicity towards that.
There's no such thing as bad publicity as.
It's all publicity.
Yeah, it's all
People,
publicity.
I'm more likely to tune in now just to see if he's still on the bloody show.
You know?
And maybe it'll hook me. And I'm not going to lie, my housemate watches it, and I've watched an episode before. Actually, it's pretty damn good. And I'm not that I'm plugging it or anything like that. But now it's just more on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch it for the first season, second season. I haven't watched it in a while just because I've just been watching loads of other stuff. Maybe I'll go back to it, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe,
so you have to be with the amounts of stuff there is to choose from these days. The streaming services series have to really be.
You have to be hitting the mark, otherwise I'll just watch something else.
There's a million other shows out there.
Have you watched? I was talking about it briefly on my last episode, but I didn't get much into it. Hannah, have you seen that?
What's that about?
So it's basically about this. Okay, I know more about the story, so I'm going to go back. Going back in my brain without these spoilers.
All right.
So it's
the best version you can.
It's about this little girl called Hannah who has never had a proper life. She only knows the woods and her father. All she knows is her father's keeping her safe from some bad people who are trying to harm her. But obviously, as people get older, as kids get older, there's only so long you can tell them this is as far as I can go because of bad people trying to hurt me, you know? So she decides that she's gonna explore, and as she explores, she gets brought into the whole world and everything starts happening, unfolding after that. There's a lot of very action-based because Hannah is, while she's in the woods, she's being trained by her father. Only thing I will give away is that her father has some sort of special forces, military training, but he's got away from that at this moment in time.
Okay. Alright, so it explains why he was able to teach that to her and all that kind of stuff.
But she's very, very, very well trained.
Is it on Netflix or?
I'm not sure if it's on Netflix. I know it's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Alright, sweet. How's Amazon Prime? Good, eh?
Prime is dope. I only have it because I got Prime one time, and then I got an email saying, you can use Prime Video, and I was like, Prime Video? Yeah, man. They sent me an email the other day about Prime Music. I don't use Prime Music, but they did this swindle. They was like, if you download or if you start using Prime Music before the 18th of May, we'll give you £5 credit.
You're like, done deal.
And I was like, done deal.
Give me that £5.
I'll start using it.
They catch you like that.
Yeah, that's how they hook you. But
they got billions. So they're happy to just
it's free within the Prime membership. That's the only reason why I use it. I mean, I get next day delivery and Prime Video. I can't complain.
Fair enough. I think that's pretty good.
There's another great film that I watched on there also called Peppermint. Great film.
Peppermint.
Yeah. Only thing I'll give away about this is the female Punisher.
Okay. You've already got me there.
Yeah.
You've already got me.
And it's about revenge. That's
about revenge.
it.
All right.
That's all I gave too much of a spoiler away on the last episode.
Yeah, keep those to yourself, bro. I want to be able to enjoy these series when I watch.
But yeah, Peppermint is a movie. I watched it maybe I think Sunday or Saturday morning, and within the first 2 minutes, someone's died.
You're just like, this is for me.
I was like, yo, what is this?
Strap me in.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens. Dude, I'm pretty same when it comes to my series, and that I can basically just watch Star Trek all day and all night, all the old episodes, all everything. And that's basically, I either watch that, or I watch WWE, or I watched the other day this new series called, it's on Netflix as well. It's like Sex, Death, and Robots or something like that.
That is fucking dope. I don't have Netflix, but I watch Netflix shows. So.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you somehow manage.
I've somehow managed.
Good though, isn't it?
Oh, it's like what's it called? Black Mirror.
Yeah, but animated.
Animated and small bite-sized chunks.
Yes. That's the best way to say it. Yeah. That's the best way to say it, dude. It's exactly that. And I think brilliant. There's one or two I hits and miss, but the majority, the storylines are amazing, especially when you think about, again, similar to Black Mirror, the disturbing thing is how plausible a lot of the stories are, and it's like, damn, that could really happen.
The one that I that had me second thinking was the Ice Age one, where they're looking in the fridge and you can see the civilization. That one was
proper scary, yeah. That's proper weird.
That could be a thing, you know. We could be in someone's fridge.
In someone's fridge.
Or freezer, and then...
Just how what's going on
Then
here.
they're like, oh, this is what's going on. Trump's president. Oh, let me shut that.
Close the door. They'll
See
be
what
like,
happens here.
It's like we'll come back in 10 minutes and see what's going on here.
Yeah, you know.
There's even the one where, have you seen with the yogurts gain supremacy? There's all that kind of stuff.
Genius.
Like, very plausible as well. Like, that's something weird like that could actually happen.
I mean...
In terms of like a lab, something the lab gets taken the wrong way and all of a sudden they leave us on Earth. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was genius because like the yogurts take over. They figured out a plan how humans could basically live like perfectly with and gave the deal to all the prime ministers and presidents, to the US president from what they showed.
Yeah.
The US president didn't take their word, and then like fucked off.
Yeah, they said that's fine. I don't know if you've seen the one where they've got it's like starts off with a dude and his father in like old school Japan hunting spirits.
I haven't seen all of them.
I'm not going to tell you anything more. Just go watch it. Because as soon as I say anything more, it gives it away. But you'll see what I mean. It's him and his father hunting spirits. When that one comes on, I think it's like a 17-minute episode or something. You dig it. That's my favorite one so far, I must say.
I just love that. It's kind of like, but it reminds me of, kind of like Robot Chicken, kind of.
Yeah. Like they can do whatever they want.
In
this kind of format. That's what makes the animation that really revolutionized TV. I think was for me. It all started with, I think. Maybe people a little bit older will say Beavis and Butthead, but for me it was South Park.
Yeah, South Park.
And that was for me. I was like, okay, cartoons don't have to be about like Looney Tunes or whatever. They can be about all sorts of fun stuff as well.
I got introduced to South Park when I was not meant to be watching South Park. I just remember it was like I was in primary school and I used to stay at this kid's house my auntie used to take me to school with she's not my real auntie, but she's like friends with my family, but she used to take me to school. And I just remember I used to come to his house early in the morning, and I remember the first day he introduced me to South Park. He was like, have you seen South Park before? I was like, what's South Park? He was like, bro.
He's actually missing us.
And it was like back in the day when like South Park used to be on TV, and remember you used to have the VHS and you used to record the TV show, so you could,
Back in the day, we'd be on it like 11 o'clock at night as well, because it's definitely not for kids.
Yeah, that's how I know. He was like, he had a TV in his room, so he was like, I recorded this. I was like,
and that's how you know the program's good, is because it's on when the kids shouldn't be watching, and it's like, of course we're going to look at that. It's about kids.
Yeah.
Like that, and then of course early enough for that you had Family Guy and all that kind of stuff, which is taking it to another weird dark level as well.
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's. We should try watch Orville sometime.
Orville's is dope.
Dope, eh? Same
Definitely
vibe.
check out Orville's.
Orville's amazing, I think.
Orville's is dope.
And it goes deep. It's not just funny. It has a really deep.
That's what I love about Orville's, because it's like it touches on real life things that are happening in the current events or current world life events, or like even like relatable. It's proper, like even things like, and it's great because they're all aliens, so it's kind of comical to hear about. So like
it makes it neutral as well. You know what I mean?
So like there's this great story that I love where it's about, there's this one planet which is on the ship with Seth MacFarlane, and his planet is a planet full of only men.
Okay.
It's like there's no women. Like men live with men and they get partners with men, and the men lay eggs.
Yeah.
So this male, he lays an egg, he's on the ship, and then the egg hatches and it's a female.
Okay.
So on their planet, if a female is born, they automatically do the treatment for them to be turned into a male.
Okay.
So, but because they're on an international galactic ship, that means they were on galactic global rules, which means they couldn't kind of sanction that treatment to be done on a child.
Yeah.
So it bring out the question of kind of
like the
morality of changing a sex on birth, or if you should maybe let the child have the choice.
Yeah. But it manages to ask it in an alien kind of way, where it throws a dialogue up for people to have, but it doesn't necessarily be like, this is what we think is moral and you are immoral if you don't think this.
And there's another great episode that I will mention. It's about absolute democracy.
Okay.
which is basically a voting system where everyone has kind of a pin that has an upvote and a downvote. And if, say, for example, someone likes you, for example, wait till this goes.
We have our third person on the podcast. Is he going to be down there?
I'm not sure where it is. But so if, say, for example, someone likes you and they like what you're wearing or something, they might upvote you. But say, for example, you accidentally bump into someone and they dislike how that made them feel, they'll downvote you. If you get too many downvotes, then you be put on, basically go to prison.
Okay. And so similar to them, they've got a similar real life thing in China from what I've heard. People have got a point scoring system by the government.
But then it has this other thing where it has a live feed where basically everyone sticks to the rules. If there's anything that happens outside of the rules, the people will film it and it will go on the main feeds. So the moment it happens, everyone will see it in real time. It will go up on the main feed. So then your rating can be downgraded so much faster because more people are seeing what you're doing and they're thinking they'll see your account, they'll be like downgrade. So then you're more likely to get onto that.
Go to prison and that.
Yeah, so once you get to prison, it's more of, instead of it being prison, they let you have it's proper involved in social media. So like they get you have a second chance where you do like a social tour. And you tour around the country trying to plead your case for why you're sorry for what you did and how you won't do it. And if the country believe you in different places, then maybe they might upvote you, and maybe they might. If they don't believe you, they don't believe you're being like proper sincere, then they'll downvote you. And if you get so many downvotes after that, then you go into death row. And then that's
proper scary.
Death row is where you're just sat on a chair and you're sat on this rating, and everyone in the whole entire world is watching you live feed, and they're basically making a final judgment on whether they feel you should live or die. And
that's dark,
if it gets to a
shut up, bitch. We've been sat down for a while.
Yeah, and if it gets down, I think it either gets down to a high minus 1 million or something like that, then you'll die. But if it gets up to maybe 1 million, then you might get saved.
Bro, but that kind of stuff is plausible again. Like, have you seen the Black Mirror where the woman wakes up in that house and she doesn't remember why she's there, and it turns out she helped her partner kill the little girl or whatever it is. And then they're also filming all of that. And it's got people with the cell phones, and it became all about it. And it's like, wow, bro, how much of a deciding factor in our like happiness and well-being is this social media life going to take on us?
No, it is. It's just like, do you know, like, even things like, do you know the like button was created by a psychologist?
Okay.
So it was created by a psychologist that worked out that basically that if people had on social media some sort of way of
like
positive gratification, it'll make them feel much better about themselves.
Wow, alright, and that created the craziness that we've got today of
likes and
people, because it affects the same part of the brain as chocolate and all that as well.
There was nothing by chance that was created on. It wasn't like the guy who made. It
wasn't on purpose.
It wasn't like he was like, maybe we'll have a like button to give people a chance to like things. No, they specifically found a psychologist to work out the reasons why.
It's crazy, man. It is mad, but that's also the monster that Facebook has grown into.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff, we forget just how much of an influence these things, even when they say like in the last election, Facebook was relevance when Facebook, in Obama's election, Facebook was relevant.
Even in Brexit. Have you seen the Brexit movie?
No, I've not seen the Brexit movie. How many minutes do you think we have left of it? How many minutes do you think we have left of it?
1 minute.
1 minute, then you'll be alright.
So yeah, the Brexit movie, Channel 4, it's on 4OD.
Okay.
I recommend checking it out because I watched it and it opens your mind to how fucked we actually were on the whole thing. And it wasn't like all the information that they gave us, it was a lot of false information. And the way how they got out the information and the way how like it was even things like the Leave campaign started. Like when did we start the Brexit referendum? 2016? Yeah. The Leave campaign started like from 2015. That's when they started their campaign. started planning how they were going to get this Leave thing to happen.
Okay.
And it was from the beginning, it was a coup with the Conservatives and what is Nigel Farage's party.
Right, well, this lady drowned them out luckily. She got them out of there. Oh, look, I think it's people felt really strongly about wanting to leave the EU, and I think one of the things that led up to it was that when David Cameron went and he asked if there could be changes, there was 4 things he went to go ask for changes of. One of them was agriculture and fishing or something. He came back with a big fat no, and that is what sparked the Brexit referendum. If he came back from Europe and they said, all right, we're willing to change.
But the thing is, when you watch the Brexit movie, that's not what happened.
Do you not reckon
That's not what happened. It's from, like, they were basically, the guy who ran the Leave campaign, he wanted to have all the facts and figures and he wanted to run it himself. It was people who, all the MPs and stuff that were part of the campaign that were like, we need to get this information to the MPs before, otherwise we're not going to get backing from Parliament. So they pushed it to get, because they had the way to get it to them, so they pushed the idea towards their parties because they had people from their party working in the Leave campaign thing from the beginning.
Okay. So they always just wanted to leave, huh?
Yeah. But it was a coup. You need to watch the movie because it clears everything up, but it's chilling to watch because it's just, why more so than anything, and it's more like the lies, so many lies or so many things that, like, the Leave campaign, this is all based on real things because they've done research from the guy who actually ran the Leave campaign. And the Leave campaign, that they hacked into maybe a talk from the Remain campaign from someone who was talking, and basically they listened to all that they were talking about. So, like, they were able to hack into maybe the conference call that was happening. It had a private number or blah, blah, blah. She was able, from the Facebook group, able to join the party, get the code to join the conference call, and then listen to the whole of what the Remain people were talking about. And they were like, well, if that's what they're talking about, we obviously need to talk about the opposite to what they're talking about to just push our thing.
I get what you're saying. It's all games, man.
Yeah, it's all games. And then they got the Facebook involved as well. That's the biggest thing. They built a machine, bro, that would track every single person on Facebook's, like what we like, what we dislike, or what adverts we go to. They had targeted ads. They created a bot that would make targeted ads for us. So they were figuring out what our opinions on Brexit was just by our clicks on yes or no.
Cambridge Analytica and that goes a lot deeper than just that. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Remain was doing that too. I think what we must be careful for is whether the person voted Leave or Remain who directed the movie as well. Because I can tell you right now, everybody's got, and this has been the most clear thing for me out of the whole Brexit referendum, is that just how much slinging mud achieves nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
And don't get me wrong, bro, I'm a Brexit voter, and I think that there was a lot of stuff I was lied to about, but I also think I don't like the way that things are handed down in terms of from European democracy to English democracy. I'm not that big of somebody who's really tied into the whole freedom of movements, because my grandmother and mother in South Africa don't get any freedom of movement, so I just view it as preferential treatment for Europeans, if I'm quite honest with you. And this has caused arguments with some of my Italian mates and that. But coming as somebody from the Commonwealth, in South Africa and Australia, New Zealand and Jamaica, and all those people can get freedom of movement as well, I'm not actually that attached to the whole argument, to be quite blunt with you, because it doesn't actually affect me. I've got a British passport. And but I do understand that because there was such a split, they basically have to make concessions, because it's not a majority if you take into consideration younger people who obviously all don't want to leave and all that. So that's the problem, is that there was a lot of lies and BS coming from the Leave side, which doesn't make my job any easier. And also, as a Brexit voter, I'm thrown into the same pot as Nigel Farage and all those guys, and then hate crime shot up and all that kind of stuff. And so what happens is I end up saying, well, these bloody Remainers, these Remainers, they just taking the piss to Remainers, say, well, these other guys are liars. And what actually ends up happening is people who, on both sides, get both legitimate reasons, for instance, vote the way they did, ended up getting misinformed about what was going on. They lied about all this stuff, then both of them get portrayed in bad lights by either side. Either side will say they're a bunch of idiots, then the other side will say they're a bunch of idiots. And actually, at the end of the day, what they should have done is say, look, this is something we want to do. We're going to need at least maybe say 75% majority if we don't want to cause a split. And also, instead of doing this quick sticks, let's do this over a course of 2 years of educating people, or not even educating just the people, but just the politics. Yeah, having the conversation. So, because it was basically like we're having a Brexit vote. There's the vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then now we're having the conversation about it.
Two years after the vote, it's like we should have had these 2 years of talks that people have been having now should have taken before we voted.
Yeah, 100%.
Because then I can tell you right now, people, whether they believe or Remain, might have changed sides, and I don't know which would have gone.
But we at least would have been more informed on what we were voting on.
And it shows how little. And I don't think, personally, when I watched the thing the next day and you saw they were announcing that the Leavers won, Boris Johnson and Gove and all those guys, they won. They looked like they were standing at a funeral.
Yeah.
They were staring at the floor, and I don't think any of the elites actually realised the appetite for leaving the EU, and I don't think they realise how much a lot of the older people don't like the immigration, which is obviously a big thing. But I also don't think they realise how many of the younger people, or how many of the younger people also are willing to say, well, let's try something new. I personally have been in England for 8 years, and I feel like I constantly have to remind British people, and they can take offence to this if they want, I have to remind them that Britain is great. That's why people come here. That's why I came here. I don't think that we're going to struggle outside of the EU. I think we're going to be fine, and there's no evidence for the sixth strongest economy in the world to kind of do worse than the slowest growing economic bloc on the planet, which is the EU. I'm sorry, and but I do think that we all could have been a hell of a lot more better informed going into this. No doubt. And people shouldn't have lied to us either, because it makes everybody look stupid, including them. So this is the thing, and this is why it's caused some division, is because people were fed bullshit, and then they get, and it's already an emotive subject. How much has been attached to it for people, and so I stayed after our Brexit thing was announced. I stayed overnight to my friend's house. It was like a Friday. We were just getting on the piss. They both voted Remain, and my mate Jackie she was so angry. I could hear her like throwing the TV remote against the wall and all sorts of things. It was just very awkward, and all of a sudden I was like, Jesus, these people are proper pissed off. And I went to the pub that day with some mates, and we were at the bar. I was living in Oxford. It was at my regular. Bro, I'll never forget, it's called the Kylie Retreat in Oxford. As I walk in, same bar staff there, they looked like somebody had been shot or something. The person was like, what's wrong? Like, all the Brexit votes. And I was like, oh yeah, no, good results. And they looked at me like I was evil, bro. Like I was some kind of evil, and their whole body language changed and everything. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, really? We good couple of years, we've known each other, and all of a sudden, just because of this one decision I made, it had changed how they view me entirely. My entire person was now tainted because of this one way in which I voted. And I was just like, really, bro? You're gonna just assume that? And for me, I was like, wow, this is going to cause some divisions now, just because of the labels that people were given, and then whatever. But yeah, Brexit, I think, is something people are slowly getting over, man. And I hope we just bloody crack on with something now.
Yeah, I hope so.
And just get it, just for the main reason of getting it over and done with, to be quite honest with you, man. I think it's sucking the life out of a lot of other things that need to get spoken about.
Figure out a plan, guys, and do it.
Dude, like, just figure out a plan and do it. Ever since I've been living in London, I've been amazed at how the effects, like the cuts of the Tories on stuff like welfare and all that kind of stuff, how much of an effect they actually have, and especially with the knife crime and stuff like that. Just a lot of the dudes that I speak to in Brixton, and that they reckon places have been closed down and shut down in the last few years.
Yeah, they have youth clubs in the last 10 years have been closed down.
And these places, I'm not saying they would have definitely have stopped knife crime, but I think they definitely would have given kids something to do instead of joining gangs and stuff like that.
Yeah, instead of being on the streets, you could be actually doing something in a youth club with other people your age.
Exactly, even if it's just playing FIFA or something like that, you know what I mean? It's better than out there getting in a position where you're now going to carry a knife because you're scared of getting stabbed. And the thing is that all these kinds of things are not going to get any attention paid to them so long as you're saying deal or no deal. Let's go to Sark. No, just crack on. We've got kids getting stabbed in the streets, but you faffing on about Brexit for 2 years. For 2 years, they're like, the EU and Brexit haven't just been able, and Britain haven't just been able to say, all right, so listen, Europe, we want to carry on business as usual. Do you guys want to do that? And Europe says, oh yeah, so do we. Let's not put stupid, unreasonable tariffs. We can both make a profit. Okay. They're already doing business. It's not actually, I don't think, that difficult. And I think it's been people playing bargaining chips against each other, trying to get a greater deal. Or the 100%. EU also wants to make it very clear that leaving the EU is not an easy task. Because if Britain was able to do it smoothly and be prosperous, all of a sudden everyone's going to say, okay.
It's that easy, eh?
It's that easy. And also England, France and Germany is where the money comes from, and let's face it, that's the money. Hence they want us to pay 39 billion for no reason, basically, divorce bills, because they need that cash money, bro. And that's why it's been so up in the air. And yes, we also need their money, no doubt. but it is a two-way street, man, and it's sucking the life out of England.
But it's also a thing where even if we had that money, it's not going to be distributed the way that people think. Like,
Amen, bro. Amen, dude. Yeah, it's not like it's going to help, really. You think?
People don't understand there's a structure within the government, and it goes into a pot, and then they decide from that pot what needs the money.
Yeah. It's not like, right, this will be used for the NHS.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're going to figure it out, and probably, this is pretty cynical of me, but it's probably just going to go back into the back pockets. In fact, no, it's not. Just recently they said on the news that the MPs have all gotten a pay increase.
Yeah.
That's where the bloody money's going to go to.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the fact that 0-hour contracts and all that kind of stuff. No, the MPs need more money.
Forget the NHS that haven't had a pay rise in over 10 years now.
They're only saving lives, bro. They're only saving lives. No, don't bugger them. Don't worry about fire departments or getting more police. That shit's been on the decline forever. And but no, don't worry about that. Let's get the MPs more money.
It's much easier to blame drill music for the cause of knife crime.
No, because of course. But you know what? I also know that teenage girls are far more likely to self-harm than teenage boys. I also know that they listen to One Direction.
Oh.
I wonder if their parents are taking out their iPads or iPods if they're worried about the emotional stress that kids going through. You know what I mean? Like no doubt, music has an effect on culture. Music has an effect on culture and all that kind of stuff. But and I can't 100% say that drill has had no effect on the culture in which these kids are stabbing each other. So I can't say it hasn't, but I can definitely tell you that it is not enough to be bloody mentioned by politicians, considering that they're probably just trying to cover up their own mistakes by saying let's blame it on the rappers because we closed down the youth centres.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, man. It's like music is an expression, and they're more so. If anything, they're expressing their surroundings, like what they're going through,
getting it off their chest.
So, if anything, this should be an eye-opening to you. Like, this is what's going on your streets.
Let the politicians listen to what's going on in their constituency. Instead of saying, no, they're the cause of the problem. It's like, no, these are your constituents. These people are now having to make songs about whatever the hell. I've not listened to much drill music. I'm guessing it's probably similar to trap. Somebody will probably correct me on that.
Kind of.
But like similar kind of vibe where it's like, no, these people are your voters. If they're in a position where this is what they're doing, you need to do something about it. It's not their fault. You are the MP. You're the one elected to do something. And so it's a joke, bro. It's just politicians covering up for their own bloody bug ups.
It's just like, I think someone said, I can't remember who said it recently, but it's kind of funny that the people that we elect to do the things that we want to do, like kind of run the country, they don't actually run the country. If we want to if we want things to happen for us in our lives, we actually have to do it ourselves. Because they're not going to do it for us.
Stop relying on the dudes who are going to let us down, dude. And it's sad but true, man. And that's a big and this isn't that old of thinking. That goes back to the arguments of whether you want big governments or small governments. And one of the best arguments for small government that I've heard is that I can't remember who said it, bro, but he said a government shouldn't do stuff for people that they can do for themselves, because then it's like you don't actually want to be too dependent on somebody. You know what I mean? You want to actually be a community that's self-sustaining. You don't want to have to rely on these people that are going to come through. And this is what you see happen a lot of the times in the Middle East and stuff like that. As soon as there's been like bombing by the good guys, they've gone and bombed the whole of this country and killed people that done nothing to them. What happens is usually a lot of the terrorist organizations will, what they start off doing is that they will do the municipal services and they say, listen, we can come get some clean water for you guys, we'll take away your rubbish, and they do that because then all of a sudden these people are now not only dependent on these guys to a certain degree, but they are in their good books. And all of a sudden these are the dudes who are helping us, not religious zealots out to destroy the world. This is the dude who's helping me fix my community. And that they can pick it up. And this is where the government's is being daft, is that if they don't do this, other people are going to do it for themselves, and whatever party is in power now is probably not going to garner as many votes as the other guys who say, listen, we can actually help you make sure your streets are getting run correctly, which Labour will come through and do. Everything that happened with the DUP and the magic money tree and all that kind of jazz shows that, especially with younger people coming up, and with the support Jeremy Corbyn, whether you like him or not, the support he was able to drum up, shows that the Tories have gotten complacent, the other dudes are hungry, and if these guys want to carry on thinking, oh, they'll just keep on voting for us. Ah, man.
No, we won't.
Ain't gonna, especially poor Theresa May was thrown into a shitstorm, and she's had to deal with a lot of crazy stuff. And but even with that, it's kind of like, look, dudes, definitely not strong and stable. You know what I mean?
There was I was listening to a comedy chat. I think it was The Last Leg, I think it is called. Can't remember what it's called, but they were saying how when Theresa May became Prime Minister, it was only because people in her party voted for her. Then when we actually had an election for her, like she got the lowest approval rating because she opened her mouth.
Ooh, bro. Yeah. It's like maybe you're not a good Prime Minister.
Maybe if she didn't speak.
Yep.
And just like done it with her eyes, you know.
Oh, dude. Not only that, you know what I think really should have happened, bro, is David Cameron should have stayed on. He should have stayed, and yes, he said he'd step down, but that was a dumb thing, and that was arrogance to say I'll step down, because he obviously assumed he wasn't going to have to.
Yeah.
And then boom, just like that, you're no longer Prime Minister, my man.
But that's exactly what Theresa May's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in her last. Her last try to get the vote.
Yeah.
She put in to sweeten the deal. She was going to step down.
Shame, man. I feel sorry
and
for
it was
her,
still
bro.
rejected.
Rejected. They still said nah. We ain't even going to take that.
But now she has to step down.
It's like, what are you going to do now, bro? And I don't even know who will be next, dude. In all honesty,
nor do I.
Because Michael Gove's not popular. It's something to do with schools. I don't know exactly what, but a lot of my teacher mates hate him.
Yeah.
And then obviously Boris Johnson made the comments about dudes in Africa having watermelon smiles and all that kind of crap as well. You know what I mean? And so after that, there ain't too many shining lights in the Tory party to run the country. To be honest with you, maybe do you know who I do find quite funny, bro? And I see him on Question Time is a dude called Jacob Rees-Mogg. And he once did an interview with Ali G about like being posh and that he strikes me as an extremely posh kind of fellow, but he's hella funny, bro. Look him up, Jacob Rees-Mogg. He tells it as it is, bro. And yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a really posh conservative dude, but you can tell he doesn't really give a crap about what his other politician mates think of him. He's never been a front bencher or anything like that. And yeah, and that's basically what I can think of. Apart from that, you just got Boris Johnson and Michael Gove, who aren't really popular people because they're dicks.
I mean, I've been told that Boris Johnson has recently cut his hair and everything, so he's kind of...
New man.
Yeah, you know, he's looking like he's in the run-ins, or he feels like he is.
He wants to get he doesn't want to get confused with that moppy blonde hair.
No, that was the old Boris.
That was the old Boris, when he was still on his bicycle and that. And apparently he's quite a clever dude, he knows like 5 languages.
I can imagine he probably is.
He's like quite a smart, but also he was, this could be complete fake news, warning. But when I was living in Oxford, so he went to Oxford and he always dissed David Cameron for studying PPE because he said that's supposed to be the Prime Minister, but he said it's rubbish. I can't remember what he studied, but he was part of, I don't know if you've seen the movie Riot Club. It's like, he was part of some kind of group like this for the life of me, I can't remember the name, that always wear Wellington boots, man, I can't remember, like Willingdon Club or something like that. But basically it was a bunch of rich lads who would go and like set money on fire in front of homeless people or run into an off license and like mash it up but then throw some money on the floor to compensate for the guy and go into pubs. And apparently he did this and he even had an arse in charge because he set a pub toilet on fire and stuff like that, because when he was just like a young rich lad, all the money in the world, dudes, and there was a whole thing of course that David Cameron put his willy in the pig head's mouth and all that kind of stuff. So the stuff these posh people get up to at uni, I don't think it's all sophistication.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And people being civilized. And these are the dudes who are going to have their finger on the button.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, great. And so, yeah, basically we left in a bit of a ruck. We either have to hope the Tories can cough up something, or you can have Jeremy Corbyn. He's a dude who I've always thought is a bit flaky, and I think he says a lot of what he says to make people happy and so he can get into power, in my honest opinion, because he's always got the right stuff to say, and it's like, no, mate. And even with the Brexit thing, he was always very critical of the EU and saying, how can you follow laws from Brussels? But then as soon as it turned out there was a lot of appetite to remain.
I know that guy over there. Sorry, one second.
Popular man, head over. Did you know him? Or was it weird? You knew him?
Yeah. I know him. Yeah.
Okay. You're a celeb, bro.
Huh?
You're a celebrity, bro.
No, I know him through one of my... Do you know Sophie? The blonde girl, she goes to...
Oh, yeah.
She does,
I saw on Monday, actually.
Poetic Word,
Yeah.
So I met him through Sophie.
Alright.
So like he's a comedian as well. So
Alright, that's a tough gig, man.
Yeah.
Making people laugh is I much prefer what we do, dude. It's like I think it's far easier to make somebody cry or be angry than what it is to make somebody laugh, bro. That's a whole, because it's quite like sad is pretty universal. When like something sad, like do a poem about a kid dying or something like that. If you want to make angry, do a poem about like a rape or something like that. But to make somebody laugh, you have no idea. I don't have any idea really.
Well, funny that me and Sophie are going to be starting an event soon.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't want to say on here. I'll tell you afterwards.
Don't give that away, bro.
It's to do with poetry and comedy.
Okay. Yeah, don't give away the big reveal.
Yeah.
You can speak about it off podcast very strategically for your plans.
But yeah, it's a good idea. Hopefully it will blow once we figure out all the logistics, speak to the venue where we want to do it and everything.
Man, that's exciting. Yeah, that's quite nice to hear. Guys are making moves, bro.
Yeah. It's just an idea we had like randomly.
Hey, but you have to, that's how everything starts, isn't it? You know what I mean? You have to take these things and run with it, have a little, and just throw in it sometimes, I think, bro.
So I will talk about this thing.
Alright.
The teacher who introduced the mental health checkboard so students can share their feelings. I just thought it was like dope. Like
I think stuff like that leaves me having faith for the future, bro.
I know, right?
I might have come off as like a really cynical, pessimistic person here, but like, and I'm not. But the problem is that kids don't know how to really articulate what's going on with them. And I'm not saying your kids are dumb, but you're only like 10 years old, aren't you? And you're not going to be able to say, I think I've got bipolar or something like that. They're probably just going to say, I don't feel well. And that's as much as what you're going to get out of them. So to have something as obvious as saying happy, sad, angry, or whatever, all of a sudden it can give the teacher a bit of a marker in terms of what's going on. What other things do you think that teachers would be able to do apart from that in terms of checking mental health? It's difficult.
I don't know, it's difficult. What else can you do? And it's kind of, I guess it gives from this process anyway, it's the pictures of the board. It kind of looks like this.
Okay, alright, okay, so I'm great, I'm okay, I'm meh, I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time and wouldn't mind a check-in. I'm in a really dark place. Whoa, that's proper sad, man. Jeez. All right, that last one's proper sad. And someone's even they've got stickers there Jeez.
So basically, the reason why it was set up is a teacher in San Francisco. She's gone viral for sharing this ingenious idea to help study where the children's mental health is. And it's after having several students attempt suicide in the past 5 years. So because of that, she thought, well, this is obviously a thing that we need to be talking about, and like they need to have some sort of outlet where they can feel comfortable to share how they're
comfortable.
feeling.
I think that's the doozy there, is being comfortable, because I think there's lots of stigmas around it, and you know what kids are like, bro. As soon as one kid says something, oh, I think I could be whatever, or unfortunately a lot of kids will just be like, you're a weirdo, you've got whatever. So it is for children to feel comfortable about speaking about their mental health without the stigmas.
Yeah, 100%.
That's something that's hella difficult, and hats off to teachers, because they have to deal with that and all the repercussions and everything like that.
Exactly, and if you can get them talking about it from a young age, it's only a hopeful thing that they're going to continue talking about it into their adult life. So, and then
you're right, it gets them into that kind of state of mind already, and that it's okay to have something wrong with you, and it's okay to look for help instead of like, I'll be fine, I'll be alright, and just brush over. There's nothing wrong with. In fact, if there's something wrong with you, it means you're normal.
100%.
You know what I mean? And I think kids really need to have that, especially we were talking about earlier on with the social media effects in kids and all that kind of stuff. To be able to have something like that, where you can say, how are you actually feeling today? Not, are you just sat there swiping left or right, doing whatever, not feeling anything, being numb. You know what I mean? So it's sad. That last comments on the page for everybody listening is like all the writing on the left-hand side, the little post-it notes going to the right, and at the very bottom it's got this one saying, I'm in a really dark place with a broken heart, and there's like 5 sticky notes that kids have obviously gone and stuck on there. It's crazy, bro. And so it just reminds you how fragile kids are, because I never think of kids having to be honest with you, bro, I never thought of kids having mental health problems. Unless they had like some weird stuff happen to them, you generally just think kids were picking snot and scratching their ass and running around.
Pretty
you know
happy,
what I mean?
doing
Pretty
whatever
happy.
they want, yeah, but...
Unless they have like some unfortunate event happens to them as kids. But yeah, I suppose,
I guess
you know...
they're human too.
They're human, bro.
Yeah.
They're just little mini depressed people, opposed to the fully grown caffeinated ones, you know what I mean? They've got their own little problems, but it's a way. But look, the happy part of that, I suppose, is that this lady's now recognised it, and that's obviously going to spread like wildfire.
Oh yeah, it has gone viral in San Francisco. It's like there's loads of different
geez,
versions.
okay, wow. So there's other ones that have been brought up here.
Yeah.
And I think that's
different
big.
teachers are taken on from
Wow, man.
Like everyone just keeps doing it, so it's pretty cool.
Wow, dude, that is brilliant. So, but again, yeah, man, it's sad, dude. It's sad and good because it's like at least these kids are getting some help. But it also, I think that there's lots of kids who might not have this kind of safe space environments at home.
Yeah.
Some kids, I think, could have an upbringing where they're ultra open with their family and will talk about everything. Then you might have some other kids where they don't even tell their dad they're alright or whatever. And then where do these kids go? They're not going to confide in their friends probably. The last shot for them is their teachers. You know what I mean? Which is where the safeguarding the children and all that kind of stuff comes in. Is very often these kids, I suppose, don't have much of a choice of who to go to. And I think they probably will have people like myself brush them off and say, you're not mentally ill. You just go play outside. And meanwhile, maybe the kids got serious kind of stuff going on inside there. But yeah, man, it's sad, dude. And I think that I don't know how much we're actually doing to curb the mental illness thing by so many people being online and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's more so maybe becoming a bigger thing, especially as we're talking about it more, because kids are on these social media platforms as well, if not more. That's why there's like they've brought out a lot of the things where you can stop people from using.
Like
I know on iPhone they have a new timer where you can lock yourself out of apps. You can only go on apps on certain times.
Yeah, if you've been on there for like 4 hours already,
they'll lock you out or something.
It's brilliant, dude. And I've got my little thing on mine where at the end of every week it gives me feedback and it says you 10% more than last week.
I keep going down every week. It's great.
Yeah, it's rad. Yeah. It's rad. I think because now all of a sudden you are a little bit aware, like oopsie daisies. Because I get all the time, man. And you know what it's like? Just because you're bored, you'll start going through your Facebook, then all of a sudden you're looking at stuff you've already scrolled through and you're well aware you've already scrolled through it, but you're going to scroll through it again in the hope that there's going to be something there. And what did you do beforehand, bruh? What did you do before? What did you used to do when you're like on the bog or on the train or something like that?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember life before I could just scroll through some kind of social media, bro.
I don't remember life before I could just do whatever I want. If I wanted to know it, I could find out.
Straight away.
I don't remember
just
life
like that, bro. It's like this thing isn't. It's become an extension of us, bro. It's become another limb. And all of a sudden, it's like I don't know what to do. But now with I was speaking to my sister today, and basically we just got tickets for Endgame, I think for the 26th or something like that. We're going to be seeing it. So we think for the 20th, I think this comes out on the 24th or 5th. Either way, I think for like 2 days I'm going to have to just not go on social media. Already I had to follow 1 or 2 pages on Instagram because they put up like a spoiler. I won't say anything. But I already had to unfollow a couple of pages. So I'm, to be honest with you, dude, looking forward to actually not being on social media for a couple of days because I have a valid reason not to, because I don't want to ruin the movie. And I always know, like every now and again I try, emphasis on the word try, to have like Sundays without any social media or something like that. And I do quite well very often where like I'll check it by the evening. And even when I do that, and this sounds so pathetic, but even when I eventually check my Instagram, it actually feels like better because I haven't looked at it for a lot of time. Like, oh, this is a little bit nicer looking on Instagram than what it normally is. And it's like, how pathetic is that, bro? It's bloody, I should be writing some more poetry or something like that, not looking at my mate's dinner that they had and thinking this is good. And so it's like, what standard of life have we now taken as like being great? It's like, no, bro, we could be flying to another country or something like that. But yeah, man, that's just the social media issues that we've got these days. And that's why I think our parents said it's slightly better, man. Have you got like a thing on your screen so people can't read it from the side?
Yeah, it's a privacy screen.
Clever
You can
idea,
only see
man.
it if you're looking directly at it. It's fantastic.
I like that, man.
It's great because you get like every now and then I'm on the bus and I get like
you're watching
someone
porn.
looking over my shoulder like, how's he scrolling? What's he tapping on
So-
a dark screen? Like you just see the person looking over my shoulder. It's
It's
so
like, oh, he must be special.
yeah.
Like,
And then every now and then people are like, oh, why is your screen so dark? No, it's not.
like, no, his parents just gave him a toy phone, keep him occupied on his way home there. It's like,
What time are we on? Okay, cool. I will do random facts for you.
random facts. That sounds good to me, dude.
Okay, so I found 3 random facts. The first one is the man who invented the frisbee was...
Okay.
the man who invented the frisbee was cremated and turned into a frisbee.
What? Did they use him though?
I guess so, yeah.
Yes, so, yeah. Shit, he must have been well into that, eh?
Yeah.
Where did you find that out?
I downloaded this app today called it gives you random facts.
I thought that was just like something you find in your day-to-day life. Like, what kind of museums you can visit to, right? Saves you all the people. Right, fair play to him, I suppose, dude.
I mean, he invented it and he wanted to die as he lived as a frisbee.
How long ago do you think that was, though, man? Frisbees must have been around for a while, I reckon.
Yeah, I didn't look that up.
No. I just think I'm pretty forward thinking that, because like back in the day, it would have been basically like burn the body in case of like plague or just bury it really deep or whatever. And even only nowadays, I see people like they'll do cremations and then put you in their tooth.
Yeah.
Or do something random like
I mean,
that.
the only thing with that is you have to make sure that frisbee stays in the family, and it's like. And it can't be like it can't be one of those frisbees that like goes into the attic and you forget about it, goes into the car boot cell.
Yeah, car boot system, and all of a sudden your dog's chewing on the
yeah, it's sold through, and then everyone's like, "Where's Granddad?"
I'll be like, nah, I don't. I'll be like, where's he going?
And I'll be like, nah, it's cool. He's a frisbee. He'll come back.
He's there with spot somewhere in somebody else's house and like being worked off as a true toy or something like that, bro. What other things did this crazy thing pop up?
The
bro?
next one is there are more chickens in America than there are people on the planet. I thought that was like.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Maybe it's because
there's 8 billion chickens in America then.
Apparently so.
That's mad, bro. That's
Yeah.
mad. I will perpetuate a very negative stereotype. I'm gonna tell you all I'm a vegan without anyone asking. And I'm gonna say there's how many chickens there are, bro. Imagine if we all just let them loose. What we do, imagine all the chickens just have to go loose, because a lot of my vegan mates like just stop killing them immediately. Let them all go free. Well, now, don't get me wrong, I'd definitely be happy if that happened, but imagine 8 billion chickens on the loose.
In
running
America.
about. 8 billion chickens in America on the loose, let out of hands, let out of cages. And don't get me wrong, I'm still saying, all my vegan mates, don't get pissed off with me, I'm still advocating to stop eating chickens and stop having factory farms. But imagine 8 billion, these bloody buggers flying about with Americans and guns shooting them out of there. Would be a whole new thing instead of clay pigeon shooting. It'd be American shooting escaped caged hens.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, bro. That'd be mad.
That'd be crazy.
Some people love it.
Yeah.
People love it. Imagine the barbecues will be going about as well, man.
Yeah.
Be fried chicken everywhere. Everywhere, bro.
Yeah, man, don't make me hungry.
Okay, alright.
And the final one, which is the craziest one that I think of ever, right? The fingerprint of a koala bear is virtually indistinguishable from those of humans. So much so that they could be easily confused for you as at a crime scene. That's crazy, right?
That's crazy, bro. They have koala bears' fingerprints, man. How did they figure that out? Did one of them commit a crime and they took them in and they said, geez.
It's the same as a human.
They're like, hey, man, that looks like a human's fingerprint there.
That's crazy.
I heard they also have chlamydia, apparently.
Oh.
Koala bears, yeah, they apparently got, some of them carry chlamydia, apparently.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's because they've got human fingers. You never know how they caught it, right? You know what I mean? I don't know how those koala bears caught chlamydia. What kind of sheeters they've been busy with down there in Australia, bro.
But yeah, those are my random facts, and I'll give you a little interview now if you're game. Yeah.
Game for that for sure.
So, this book that you gave me is called My Dark Stone Out.
Shown out.
Oh, Shown Out, sorry.
Shown out, no worries.
I'm dyslexic.
It's all good, brother.
Where did the title come from?
So the title of that book was basically, the content of that was largely stuff which I never wanted to release before in my music and that, because I thought it was either too dark, and there was also a lot of stuff that just didn't fit and didn't make much sense, but because the majority of it I thought was quite dark, I just gave that title to the whole entire book. And to be quite honest with you, this was the first book of poetry I brought out, and I only brought it out because I was trying to think of other ways to monetize my writing. And because I was trying to think of other ways to monetize my writing. And so I brought that out, and then only when I started actually going to poetry nights when I met you, when I started living in London over the past year and a half, and I actually started to go, because I always went to open mics for my music and that, playing guitar, but only when I went to poetry nights that I started to actually experience poetry firsthand. And then I started reading poetry. I read May and Edinburgh. I got Lionheart's book the other day. Brilliant. And like a few things like that. And only when I really started reading poetry and going to poetry nights did I actually understand what I wanted to put out. So that book is literally a compilation of old songs. And so now with the new book, Trigger, the name gives it away. It's got some nice controversial topics in there, and that's
interesting.
But that I think is going to be my first proper book of poetry. But that thing I'm still pretty damn proud of. It's got a lot of. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's good.
No, I'm interested to. I'm looking forward to reading it. Where can the people at home find this book if they wanted to purchase this themselves?
If you want to purchase the book yourself, if you're interested in some like political and philosophical kind of opinions you might like or not like, and also just some general good poetry, you can go Kindle and Kobo Books, also off my website rowraps.com.
Have you ever thought of doing like, I don't know if anyone's ever done this, but like an audio poetry book?
Not a bad idea.
Because like, as much I listen, it's only because I listen to audiobooks all the time. I find it easier than reading a book, because I can actually get through a book. Yep. Like I can get through a whole book within a week.
I'm 100% agreement with you, dude. Yep.
I do feel a little bit lazy because I'm just having another guy or someone else read me the story, but someone else is telling me a story. What?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Corey. I think Harry and Edinburgh. It's at the end of the day, man. Back in the day, people had to when poetry that all first went around in large parts of the world, it was all verbal because people couldn't read and write. So that's how stories were passed. Then people learned to read and write, so you had to do books. And now we've got audiobooks again all of a sudden. So now we've got other people, so we've come full circle. So like, it started off with people not reading and writing. And I myself personally, I like reading, but I struggle to read. And I really have to allocate a certain part of my day to be like, just get through 10 pages. Because there's stuff I want to know. But I can sit and watch documentaries all day. You know what I mean? I can sit and listen to podcasts. I can listen to stuff on YouTube, and listening is so much easier to do than having, especially if you're a little bit hungover or whatever. It's fine. Instead of if you're reading something heavy, and some of the stuff, I'm reading a book right now about Islam, and a lot of it is very dry, and like a lot of like fact-based kind of stuff and dates, and it gets a little bit long. And if it's going to be an audio book, it'll be a hell of a lot more interesting.
But yeah, that's it. I would love to hear an audio version of any poetry book that's out there, because that'd be dope, man. Imagine like it'd be like going to a poetry event, but like just hearing all their poems.
Have you ever met Rag's CV and gone to Poetry Community?
I had Rag's CV on here not so long ago.
So you know his vibes. That's his new album, Soul Lyrical.
I'm gonna purchase it on Friday.
Dude, so that was his whole thinking was exactly what you just said, where he said instead of writing a book, he's gonna write a book and make an album.
Yeah.
And that's what Soul Lyrical is. So I watched the play last week Saturday. How was it? Good man. Dude, pretty good. It wasn't what I was expecting. It had some deep stuff in there. It spoke about knife crime and that beautiful singing, beautiful singing and stuff in there. And what pretty well get put together, I must say, pretty well considering the time that he said he had to do with it. Packed, sold out, bro.
Yeah.
But so that was his thinking. He's wanted to write a book but make it an album. And what I really would like to do is, we were speaking earlier on before the program about recording spoken word pieces and having music. What I reckon my focus is probably going to be, once this new book comes out, I wanted to release it 420, but it's probably only going to come out end of this month, just because I need to have like a bit of a cooling off period. Like sometimes I write things and then I read them a month later and I'm like, oh shit, maybe not, you know what I mean?
I know.
I'm like, maybe I was like really angry or something like that. And sometimes you're a little bit better a month later and you're like, actually, that wordplay fits or whatever. So it's going to take a little bit longer. When that's out, I think I'm just going to concentrate on doing lots of singles and lots of little music videos, and my strongest thing. And then maybe for the next project, although I'm busy doing a play that I'm busy doing right now.
Okay, what play are you doing?
It is called Unnatural, and similar to Black Mirror, it's like a combination of 1984 and Brave New World and Black Mirror.
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, man.
You're taking it to Fringe, aren't you?
Yeah, dude. So I'm going to be from the 14th to the 18th of May in Brighton, and then from the 5th to the 14th of August in Edinburgh. And it's pretty much, I wake up, I've just gone in to sign up through a company called Rest in Peace Incorporated, where you can sign up to VR and you can escape reality. And but you voluntarily go into this in your mind. What you're going to be seeing is everything is great, and they make up a perfect partner for you, made out of everything you've ever Googled and searched and all that kind of jazz. And but as I'm about to go into it, the system goes wrong, and then I've got a time limit of 23 minutes to really decide whether I want to unplug from this dystopian future I'm living in, where there's refugees all over the place, everyone's buggered, AI is a master. And either I want to voluntarily unplug out of this, or whether reality is worth fighting for. And it's basically a monologue, and it's got 4 poems in it, and it just speaks about artificial intelligence, virtual reality, the ethics of it, but then also the character's family, and then what I ultimately end up doing in this world, where is it natural or unnatural, just how far we go with technology and what we might do. And I've tried to make it as plausible as possible, but yeah, it's 25 minutes long, more or less.
That was interesting.
And yeah, dude, that's the kind of stuff I'll be trying to do.
So once you've toured it at Fringe, are you gonna try and get it performed at theatre?
For sure, dude. For sure, dude. So I've been looking at in Camden, there's a little theatre down there, which I've already looked at. I just googled, and it looks reasonably priced and stuff like that. There's obviously quite booked up in advance. What I'd like to do in between Brighton Fringe and the Scottish one is figure out obviously how I might want to change it up. But in all honesty, dude, and I don't know if I'll do this, but I'm actually thinking of turning it into a book, like a proper novel.
Be cool. Yeah.
Just because when I started writing it, all of a sudden, and you know what it's like sometimes when you've got a time limit with certain poems, sometimes there's so much content that all of a sudden wants to flood out of you, and you just can't fit it into, you're only going to have 3 minutes. With this play, when I started writing it, and I got about a third of the way through, all of a sudden I was like, oh, but you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, and I started thinking of sick concepts. But I'm only going to have a format of half an hour, just me on the stage, and you also don't want to get too technical and bore people, basically, which is very easy to do in a poetry night. I think it's, even for somebody who digs poetry, I think it's quite easy to get bored depending on the content.
Yeah, so, and also the delivery.
Straight up, dude. If people are gonna speak like this and do whatever, but if you've got someone who's animated as you like, going up on stage, then their poetry can be half-assed. But if they believe in what they're saying and they're getting you sucked into the action, all of a sudden it makes a big difference. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep it as simple and straight to the point as possible, but then try to get my acting skills on, bro. See how that goes. Man, I'll happily come and do a touch base with you after that to let you know how it
also
goes.
Check out the Courtyard Theatre in Shoreditch, I think. It's it's not far from Shoreditch.
Alright. I definitely have a look at that.
I performed there with my drama school when I was at Identity Drama School.
Okay.
But it's a really nice space. Really
man, I forgot you in St. Vibes. You even made that movie about weed and all that.
Yeah, Cannabis is Illegal. Shout out to Courtney for that.
Is that online, bro?
It is online. It's on YouTube right now. If you go to YouTube, search Cannabis is Illegal, the movie, I believe.
Alright.
Should pop up as the first one.
Cannabis is illegal.
Yeah, illegal,
So apparently it is now legalized in the UK for medicinal purposes, but it's very hard to actually get a prescription for it. For them to actually say yes.
Because right now they're only concentrating on the people who are most needed most, like if you have epilepsy or something like that. Most of the serious conditions,
Parkinson's, But I also heard somebody say the other day something quite interesting and worrying, good for weed smokers, not good for the general public or for the weed smokers, is that because of the lack of police, basically, they've been turning a blind eye over the last year to 2 years and lots of stuff, just because they're like, look, we ain't got much resources or much police. So the dude down the road there who's just busy smoking a J, we actually going to go after the person who's stabbing somebody else. And so it's like their lack of bloody funding, and that is only going to help. the weed smoking community.
I know, but I mean, the police have actually put out statements about it anyway. It's like, I think I remember I saw something about it. Like, it's like, yeah, what is the point of just chasing down a stoner when like someone who's actually doing crime is down around the corner? Like, come on.
And this is something stoners have been saying forever. Is they've been saying, all I'm going to do is eat a load of food. That's the worst thing I'm going to do to myself. Is eat a load of food, watch some crap TV, maybe
and pass out.
At most, the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life when I've ever smoked weed is I've been awkward when I'm in like a social situation, and that's probably it. To be fair,
it's awkward because of me. It's not awkward because of other people.
Nobody else.
It's because of me and how I feel. And I feel like I'm out of place.
I'm out of place, and I'm overthinking this entirely.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm not out of place whatsoever. And now everybody might think I'm weird because of how I'm thinking I'm out of place. And then all of a sudden, you're just going to go home and smoke a J. So, well, that's that. I tried to be sociable. Don't hate me. Like I tried to, made a good effort at it, but sometimes when you spend too much time getting isolated and gaffed there, then all of a sudden it's a different story. But I think that they're going to legalize that eventually, because especially if
we leave the EU and they're going to need that money.
Hey man, so imagine this. Imagine that, bro. Imagine they say, all right.
I know that the UK are already the biggest supplier of medical marijuana out of the whole world at this moment in time. They supply the world of 50%. 50%, I think 50% of the world's medical cannabis all comes from the UK.
Because we've got the money in the indoor.
It's not even legal here.
No, it's not even legal.
And that was before it was legal. Like, can you imagine?
So you can imagine what they're doing, bro. But also, the thing is that, as you said, so leaving the EU, Brexit, needing money, legalizing cannabis. Imagine they went to somewhere like Scunthorpe or somewhere like that. I think that was hits when they... we started doing deals with China for steel or something along those lines happening. Okay. Some time there was something happened with steel. Somebody can correct me there. And there's a whole lot of towns in England right now who are struggling because of the manufacturing and stuff like that. Imagine they went to the poorest part of England, or not necessarily just the poorest part, but like a really buggered up part where nobody wants to go to, and you make that little Amsterdam. And not in a... And yes, it opens up the gateway. Everybody's been to Amsterdam knows there's lots of other stuff hanging around, not just the weed. But it's
the cannabis club, is it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I heard about that. There's an area somewhere, and then they've got their own cannabis club already, and it's just
that kind of stuff. Well, we legalized it in South Africa, man. And
it's dope.
Dude, it's dope. So you can go there, and there's a little shop where you can go buy. It's buy in the actual shop. This little 420 cafe is actually expensive. If you just buy the dude from down the road, it's literally like an eighth, excuse the pun, of the price, and you can get that. And the thing is that it's legal, but people have to say what you want to subsidize. Do you want to get our tax money paid for somebody to be going through the legal system who smokes weed, or do you want your tax money to go towards the NHS? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like leave the stoners alone. And I can tell you right now, if Labour get into power, that is something that will happen. I can guarantee you, man. That is something that
because it will fuel the NHS. If the NHS are giving it out, then they're gonna get the money.
And tax money, bro.
Yeah.
What was it? Colorado had like something in the billions in terms of tax money.
I think it was like they made the first day it was legalized in the UK. They made like 20 billion. It was like what was it? Something like $1 billion or something. Something stupid like in one state. That was in one state.
And then as soon as that happened, all the other states, well, not all of them, but a lot of them were like boom, 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 cash money. People are going to smoke in any case. Let's make the money off of it.
But I think because as much as I think the UK is about money, I think the America think about it more.
About it for sure, dude. That's their god, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is. You're right. I think that is definitely one of the bigger things that swayed them over that way, 100%. Dude. That's a good point, I suppose. But then at the same time, we have to hope that the English are going to not only just see the money points of view and post-Brexit needing money points of view, but also, you got the medical side of things, and you have that stuff where you've got dudes that have got Parkinson's and stuff like that, and they take their little pill. You've all seen it on Facebook. The dude will take a little bit of cannabis or magic mushrooms, whatever, boom, sorted. So these things do have medicinal properties.
But it's definitely interesting the fact of like places like Canada who have it completely legalized, both medically and recreationally, and the tests and the research that they can actually do on it now to figure out what the actual effects on our body are and stuff like that. They can take it to that's what I mean. It's crazy to think about it. If they never had the war in drugs in the 60s, imagine how far we could have been on the knowledge on the medicinal purposes for the drugs that we use.
And even from like a psychometric, whatever the word is, point of view in terms of stuff like psilocybin, how that affects depression and all those kinds of things. That's all been shown that does work, and it does, and there is evidence for them to say, well, look, actually, we're giving these patients this, it's going on. And as you said, in Canada, they've now got doctors where you can get the discipline of not just being a doctor of like oncology or pediatrics, but you can do it in cannabinoids. And you can literally be a doctor just of cannabinoids, because that's how vast they reckon the reach is going to be. But also the main thing for what the UK government, for me personally, the biggest sell for the UK government to legalise weed is that the way that I was involved in doing a protest against human trafficking a while ago. And what they said is that you've got like three pillars leaning on one another, where you've got people trafficking, arms trafficking, and drugs trafficking. They're all dependent on one another to a certain degree at certain levels. And some of them not at all, some of them are intertwined that you can't even separate them. And the more money that we can take out of those guys' hands, like basic stuff like weed, if we can making the money off the weed instead of the dude who's selling a kid, you do weaken those two things.
And that's what I mean.
You know what I mean? And it's only going to have a positive effect taking money out of drug dealers' hands.
I mean, you can just see like from Amsterdam, just for example, like I don't see any child or any young person really just smoking weed. Like mostly what I see is, or from the Dutch people that actually live there, they go into the shop, the adults, they go into the shop, they pick up, and they get back into their cars and they drive home.
Because it's all us annoying tourists who are sat there getting lit inside the place, acting a fool, you know what I mean? So they're like, no, they're just like, they're going to go ahead.
But then if you go further out from the main city of Amsterdam and you see the other coffee shops where like the local people go to, because last time I went to Amsterdam on our last day, imagine this, we bumped into this guy in the coffee shop and he's like, he started telling us about, you should go to the other side of Amsterdam because it's actually much cheaper down that side. You can get more for your money than instead of paying the touristy prices. And then also the coffee shops are nicer. You can get also better stuff, and also it might be more expensive, but the quality of what you're going to get from those coffee shops is for like the extra €5 that you might spend. So I mean, it works out better, and it was nice.
You guys did that?
We went to the other side. We found the coffee shop. It's either, do you know, near where the Guinness Museum is? It's over on that side. So.
All right. I feel you. I've only, look, you know what, dude, been there 3 times, and I ain't done much, but I can't remember what else the other stuff was that I did, bro. You know what I mean? I want to go to Anne Frank's house and all that kind of stuff.
I went to a couple of museums. I did.
You actually did that, eh? Good for you, man. Shit, I just sit there and go to coffee shop. Then 2 days later, I'm like, damn it, I wasted another freaking trip here, and I've got a headache, and I want to fall asleep. And but I love every second of it.
It was dope. It's a great experience just to kind of be. I don't know. You feel like once you go there for the first time, and if you are a smoker, it's like the angst that you have when you smoke here in the country where it's illegal, you don't have it there.
You don't have that little bit of tension.
Yeah, it's like, this is what it actually feels like to actually be spaked, you know?
And actually relax. You don't have to think about some copper coming and saying, you know, you could go to the nick because you smoked this flower.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, mate. And that for me, I think was the best thing, is I was completely chilled out and I wasn't worried about having anything bad happen to me.
You see the police, it's like, hey
guys, how you doing? You know what I mean? The only bad thing you got to do is like freaking, I actually don't know, bro. Some dudes don't want to speak English. And us, ignorant English-speaking Westerners will go to every country and just assume they speak English, and that's pretty much your only other. But luckily, Afrikaans, my second language, isn't too far away from Dutch. There are some things which I can understand, not a lot, but there are some things I can understand. But you know what it's like, bro. When you've been in Amsterdam for a day, it doesn't matter if they're speaking English to you. You're still not going to understand them, bro. You're still going to be like, nope. Like, I don't know what's going on there, bro. But I want to go back in summertime this year, actually, as well.
I've never been in summer. That's one of my dreams to do.
And it looks lush because you've got all the canals and that. But I'm always in like December or some shit.
Exactly. And it's cold, and I've got this jacket on, it's the wind, and that's just the thing, because by the canals it's colder than London.
And then you just want to get indoors, and then it's like, then you've got to take off 5 layers of stuff. I don't want to chill there when it's like, do you know, so I went to Barcelona, and they said weed is legal, but it has similar laws to South Africa.
Cannabis social club?
Exactly that, man. So you just can't do it like out in public. It has to be in a private place. And I was in Barcelona, I Googled to find this place. I had to, I can't remember what the name of it was, but you basically had to apply online. and then they gave you an address. So to walk to this place, it was in some weird alleyway, and then there was literally like some doors that you could see were actually glass, but they had been painted white with a paper number 10 put on it, and the thing said 10 whatever. So I just guessed it was it. I pushed the buzzer. As the thing opened up, you could just smell weed, bro. And I was like, all right place. There was some lady there. All she asked me for was a copy of my driver's license. Then she gave me a little card. Went in. It's just like Amsterdam. It was just a bunch of Spanish dudes sat around having a smoke, watching football. You know what I mean? And they're playing pool. And then the only thing was, so I bought the weed there, pretty good money. And I had such dry mouth, bro. And they had a little, if you review us on Google, we'll give you either free joints or free Coca-Cola. So I threw them on Google and I was like, please give me something to drink. Like right now, I'm dying, bro. I got that. But it was lush. And the thing that made me so happy was that it was warm outside. And I could roll a little takeaway. Obviously, you always have a little takeaway there and just go chill on the beach. And chilling on the beach in Barcelona, for me, was hella better than chilling in the icy streets in Amsterdam. But you obviously didn't have as freely of a kind of feeling to it, and I don't want to. I speak even less Spanish than I do Dutch, so I definitely didn't want to end up with the police saying, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll have to do that again.
Yeah, I want to check out these other places like other Amsterdam.
Other Amsterdam.
Places,
Oh, straight up, that's what I'm all about, bro.
What about this album here? Social Anxiety.
Social Anxiety, man. That was my first album, first project, anything I ever put together. It was when I had just moved to England. Long story short, I moved to England because I was gonna I was working on an ambulance at the time. I was gonna work for hospital for a while. I'd gone through a breakup. It was only going to be a 1 year thing, and then I was going to go back to South Africa and I was going to basically rewrite my high school so that I could study medicine. I didn't get good marks, and then I lived in England for a year. I worked in a hospital. I decided I didn't really want to have that level of responsibility and stuff. And I was working in Portsmouth. I don't know, maybe that put me off. I don't know.
That's just the NHS in general,
NHS, man. And so I was like, look, I don't know if I want to do that. And then that's when I said I want to be a rapper. Because I was like, I couldn't think of anything else ever that I really wanted to do. And that was the only thing that ever really hung around from when I was a kid until when I was like 22. And so then in that year, from the end of 2011 going into 2012, I wrote this album, recorded it in 2013. And it was like save up, you know, it's one of those things to save up all your money all for the studio time and that. But now in hindsight, when I look back on it, there's stuff where I cringe and I could have definitely done better. I was trying to be uber, not commercial, so like a lot of them don't even have choruses. It's just like 5 minutes of deep, essentially poetry that should have been performed as poems, but I instead put boom back over.
You should check out this, what's his name? Hobo Johnson, I think.
Oh, he's dope. He's dope. He's dope, bro. He's dope. And he's got so much emotion in his voice when he raps and that, bro. He's amazing. Guys like that, I think are, I don't know if like changing the game will be too big of a word, but they're definitely introducing new styles into the game, showing that you can do. And with this, there's this girl who got this song out now, the one, You Should See Me in Your Crown, whatever her name is. There's like lots of young artists like that, like really young artists are coming up, and just the way in which they're approaching doing music, Poppy, as well, and a few others, are just the way they're doing music. They're changing the game, and there's no other way to say it. But even though a guy like Hobo Johnson is not as significant to the average
listener,
he is though.
That's the thing. Like, it's just the start. He's basically just performing poems in the form of a song. Like that, or not even that, a poem that has a chorus. That's literally
a poem that has a chorus. And some of it I don't even think, and I'd go even further to say, not just poetry. I think he's even doing like monologue or like even play little pieces. You know what I mean? Just within the format of a song. Like some of it won't even rhyme or like whatever. And it's also how you're like super angry about stuff that it just comes across that these lyrics sound like they were scripts. And then you put them into there. But ain't nothing wrong with that. I find it quite nice, which is why I say dudes like these are forever going to change the way people are doing their music.
It's like even like I can't think of his name, Lin Moran, the guy who wrote Hamilton.
Oh man,
can't remember his full name.
I knew you were talking about.
But I went to see Hamilton like beginning of mid-March. Fucking dope.
Good
I saw his last musical that he did before that called Into the Heights. Yes, I got that right. Fantastic. I've looked out recently.
Memory's working.
In the Heights is called. I love when my brain works. In the Heights, right? And I saw that on the press day when I saw that one. But it's It's just the idea of that it's so simple that we never thought about it. Musicals don't have to just be singing. We can use rap and spoken word.
Yeah,
Why
man.
not?
Yeah, man. Why not? Exactly.
Well, it's like,
it's like it's music, bro.
yeah, that's what
It
I
doesn't
mean.
just have to be like, whoa,
You know?
whatever, some stuff like that, bro.
And it's just something as simple as that. And I was just like, why was he the first person to do that? All these rappers out there, like,
They rappers been doing this since the 70s, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do you know why? And you'll know and you'll agree with me straight away. It's because of the stigma with
Yes.
musicals is that it's going to be some like middle class white lady singing some song about her lover or
Yeah.
something like that. It ain't going to be, and I know that is not all of it, and even that statement itself is slightly prejudicing. So I'm fully aware that Chinese opera is huge and all that kind of stuff. And
No,
that's
no,
not
no,
just
but
it.
it's the same with the stereotype of poetry clubs. A lot of people probably think from the movies it's just guys in berets clicking, you know?
Exactly. There's certain stereotypes,
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, and they do think that.
Yeah.
And you do find those stereotypes, man. You know as well as I do. The freaking man. I went to the one. I can't remember the name of the gig. It is, I think, at Boondocks. It's a really cool gig that they put. It's a sick gig. Either way, there was a lady who was doing a poem, a feminist, doing feminism poetry. A lot of feminist poetry I find eye-opening. A lot of it is good stuff. The stuff you don't think about from a guy. Some of it is the same crap you heard 50 times.
Yeah.
But this chick's poem, and she hated to call her a chick, this lady's poem was all about having periods. But she went into such graphic detail, and then she even at the end sang a song about anything you can do, bleeding, anything. And she started going on like this. But the thing is that the graphic detail which she went into was actually like, what? And I was me and all the other blokes are kind of, to be straight up honest with you, grossed out about it. And I get it. I don't begrudge her saying it, and I'm happy I heard it, whatever. But I was just thinking this is going to be the most stereotypical thing I've ever seen at a poetry night, as a feminist do a gross poem about her period and then sing. Like, fair play, more power to her, all right. But there are reasons why there's stereotypes.
Yeah.
And it's because people like that do exist, bro.
It's true.
And you do have those
I'm sure
types.
they probably do have those type of poetry clubs, but
It's mad, bro. Yeah, and you do get, like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
the ones that, and he was spoken like a bird. The bird was flying
dude, you get those
up
people.
so high.
Man. Have you not heard dudes like that? Cool. So I've been in.
I've never been to a club like that.
Dude, so there is a place, I'm trying to think of where it is. It's on, man, what's that orange line, bro? The Highbury in Islington. I can't remember where it takes you out to. It's going to annoy the heck out of me. I can email you and I'll tell you. Either way, there was a girl doing a poetry and doing a poem. Jeez, how's that? The poet can't even say that right. And, but her poem was all about saying the word outside. And she was trying to demonstrate the intersectionality of where sculpture meets words. And it was all about the word outside. But all she did for 3 minutes was say the word outside in different ways. So she started going like, and then that's what she did.
I was there.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I was
blonde lady.
there. I was at that event. I was at. Was it?
I can't remember what it's called.
It
Man.
was I don't know if it was the same event, but like I was at an event for the.
It's also like
poetical.co.uk.
Something like that.
For their launch party.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly
I was
that.
at the event.
And those
bro.
guys come to Chocolate Poetry Club all the time.
I was at the event,
Yeah.
bro.
You've been there. You saw.
I was there. I was sat in the back, and I was just like, "What is? What is this?
What is this shit doing, bro?" It's like really, and she's like, side,
Yeah.
side, and it was just like, is she having it straight? Like, what's going on
I
here?
had no idea what I
And
was
then all her
listening
mates
to.
were like, brilliant, that was fantastic, and I was just like, wow, okay, I can make it as a poet, bro. I can do it, bro. This chick's getting it.
No, I
can
remember
definitely.
that shit.
And don't get me wrong, sick events. Those guys ran the event, come to Poetry Club, they're dope. And don't get me wrong, I would like to have seen more in that venue. It was a dope venue and I saw some dope poets, but that one particular poet I've never forgotten about, and I just thought, wow, that was crazy.
I've never forgotten about that poet at all, because I just remember it. I just remember, outside. And I was like, what?
I was like,
This is poetry?
Is she being serious? Maybe she doesn't like poetry and she just comes to take the piss out of poets.
You know?
Like, what is she? Or maybe it's genius and we're the fools. Who knows? But I doubt it's genius. I heard some genius poetry in my life. So have you, bro. That was not like listening to like freaking Jamal Khan or somebody like that. He was listening to some craziness, dude. And either way, look, you know, she might listen to my poetry and think I'm an idiot, so fair play to her. But If the runners of the events are listening, please have more events in that venue. That was sick, and I think that could definitely be a bigger night.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, man, and get a hold of me, lady, who did the outside poem, because I'd really like an explanation of what you want about. Because maybe you had a dope concept.
That's what I mean. Maybe there was some sort of deeper meaning that like they didn't let us know about. But like
to the lay person, it just seems crazy. Whatever.
Yeah, it just seemed like she was making a load of sounds, and I remember telling all my friends about it. I was like, there was just this one poet just making that noises, saying outside. I was just like, I didn't know what it was about.
And you don't know whether it's like super arty and we're super cool.
You know?
Then maybe I'm the uncultured one.
You know?
But probably not, bro. It doesn't strike me like it's anything that like Maya Angelou would have done.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? I can't see Georgia Poet getting up on stage and just going like, oh, something like that. And so like I was just like, wait. And so either way, you have seen some pretty good poetry in that case.
We have.
And I think we've probably forgotten a lot of the stuff that we've seen. Think of how many, just on the nights we've been to together, I reckon there's probably over 100 people we've seen perform poetry just on those particular occasions. Hits and miss, mostly good. Yeah. But you do get some arbitrary kind of stuff. And I think what happens a lot of the time, and I'm a victim of this as well, is I think a lot of the time people essentially have written a blog. They've got a blog post, which once you come get off their chest, no wordplay, no rhyme, no alliteration, no nothing. Not that that's a necessity. You don't need any of that for good poem. But if you're just going to have a blog post about how much you hate whatever, then it's like you need to at least make it interesting for us for the 4 minutes that you're going to be on stage. And so I think a lot of the time you've got people who are, and I think we all get a little bit narcissistic. Maybe that's just me projecting my narcissism on other people, but I definitely do. And I definitely think like people have got to hear what I've got to say about this particular subject. And that's what the poem becomes more about than the actual poem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of being like, how can I make this beautiful? How can I get this to speak to somebody's heart?
How can I share this with other people? Yeah.
I'm just like, I've got to get this message out there. And then it like kind of makes the whole thing kind of poisons it, taints it a little bit because you've gone out with the wrong intentions. And you hear my stuff, Brian. A lot of the time I go out with that kind of stuff, and I'm trying to be a little bit more about the art rather than about what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Still trying to say stuff, but just in a more poetry kind of way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Poetic. Poetic.
But it's all part of the journey, I guess. It's all part of the journey of writing and finding your
vibe.
Yeah, and how you're going to get your voice out there.
How do you reckon you're going to be going about getting some of your poems out and that?
I'm going to try with... I want to record... I'm in the process of writing a book.
Cool. That's sick.
But first, it was only going to be a poetry inception book, which I still don't know if it's a real term. I still don't know if I coined it myself. I've just never seen it before.
Okay.
It's kind of like a poem within a poem. So
oh shit! All right.
You kind of read the poem one, and then read the other poem, which is within the poem, which is kind of just basically getting to the essence of what the poem is basically about.
Okay, so it distills it a little bit more kind of thing. Okay, dude, I think that sounds like a brilliant concept.
So I'm gonna, because they're harder to write. They don't, like, a lot of the time it doesn't just, I don't plan to write it as a poetry inception. It's just that I find the poem afterwards while I look through it.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Like it winds up being like that.
Yeah, it winds up just being, I just see another poem. I was like, oh yeah, that'll work. It'll flow, yeah.
I get what you're saying. That sounds brilliant.
So I'm either going to do a whole book of that, or I'll have a book with poetry inception and a few other poems to do with perception and kind of stuff like that.
All that kind of stuff. I think it's nice to mix it up a little bit and give people some variety as well. Instead of, you were saying earlier about sometimes you get a book of poetry, sometimes it's nice just to flip through to a random page. And that's sometimes how I will treat an entire book of poetry, is I'll just flip through as and when, and I'll find things that work. Sometimes you get books that are structured in a kind of a way where they'll have a little bit more poetry and prose and short stories and whatever, and then all of a sudden you've got a bit more, I'm not saying one's better than the other, but you can either have the option where you can just flip through and find random poems, or you can have something that's going to be a little bit more substantial and involved, where you're going to ask the person, I suppose, to become a little bit more invested and to have to sit and read through page after page instead of a sick 5-line poem. So it's pros and cons, I suppose.
So with your music, is it only available for like digital download and physical copy, or are people available on like Spotify and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. Cheers, dude. So that album that you got in your hand, that one's only available physically, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
I got my acoustic EP, that's 5 tracks, that's on iTunes, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. basically when I was putting that one up, I decided to take this old one off just because I really didn't like it anymore. I didn't like my delivery. I was too quick, all that kind of stuff. And they're still up on YouTube. I loaded all of them up onto YouTube. It's on my SoundCloud and all that jazz, so it's not completely hidden from the world. But I just thought in terms of like first impressions and that, if people were Googling me today, I'd much rather them find my acoustic EP than have them find that rubbish I did. Not saying it's rubbish, but in comparison to what I do now. You know what I mean? You always look back on your old stuff and be like, woo, I've come a long way.
It's because I was talking to Rags TV about his album, and he was saying he's not going to put it up for digitally. It's not going to be on Spotify or anything like that. If people want the album, they have to buy it from his website or from physical copy. I think it's £10 a physical copy and £5 to download digitally. So
it's a good idea that though, because you can also do stuff like that through Bandcamp and stuff like that. And I, you know what, I fully get why he's doing that, because on all the streams, that album has been on Spotify since 2013. It's had quite a few streams, and my acoustic album that I recorded, one of the songs, Reflections, played on BBC Introducing in Oxford and that kind of stuff. So I had some views in it, I had some stuff. All in all, I've made like £47 in 3 years, even with getting streams and stuff like that, because you get like 0.002 cents per stream or whatever it is. So I get why he's doing that, but I think, and I hope this, and I don't think Rags is in any kind of danger of this happening to him because he's got a fair amount of notoriety already and stuff like that. I just think it's a lot easier to get noticed if you have that presence on Spotify. At the end of the day, the more kind of hooks you have in the water, the more bait you got going is good. But at the same time, when he had his thing the other night, he sold, I think, like 40 copies or something like that of his album. $10, that's already £400. That's already more money he made in 1 hour than I've in 3 years. Just with doing that compared to the streaming. So, you know what I mean?
That's exactly how he explained it to me, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Like that works. That's 400 quid in his pocket right now.
Exactly. It's like the way how he broke it down to me is like, just simply like, it's crazy that Drake has 1 billion streams, but he doesn't have $1 billion.
Straight up, dude. So, back in the golden era of like Chronic 2001 and Eminem show and all that kind of stuff, that was big money. That was Busta Rhymes, all that. That was big money because then it was like the platinum era. Nowadays, what have guys got to do? World tour every year because they're making no money off streaming. So you got singers doing like silly schedules.
No one's really buying stuff because what's the point when I can stream it?
I can stream it, watch a music video on YouTube. Do it if nobody's doing this. That's why you have dudes doing crazy amounts of live shows, which don't get me wrong, I think that's great. Everybody wins. Maybe not the artist's family at Christmas time, but that's you know, they're making a living off doing their arts, and that's why I think a lot of people getting into other stuff. MGK is getting into his acting. I saw him in his Dirk movie the other day, and that.
I think it's more so that like kind of people are seeing that. It's one thing that's always been said to me as an actor is that you can't just be an actor. You have to have other things, otherwise. Something might go quiet for a while, and then what are you gonna do?
Good shot, dude. Yeah.
So, like, I think it's more the thing that performers or musicians are kind of seeing that you can't just be a musician. Sometimes you have to be the producer as well. You have to be writing the songs as well. You have to.
Well, that was Ice Cube, wasn't it? He was doing it all, man. He was doing it all, doing screenplays and everything like that. He was maybe even the archetype for that. You know what I'm saying? And so I get you, dude, because if you're not going to be doing that, then you're going to have to be an actor and a good barman or something like that. And or as you say, at least try have something that's within the arts industry. So singer, dancer. Well, that's where you probably get the singer, dancer, actor, triple threat kind of thing. Theatre, especially. I think those are probably, I reckon, as a dude who has no professional experience whatsoever on this, I think theatre actors are probably the best, most threats, because they've got to sing, act, dance mostly.
Well, not even that, it's just, I think it's more so the fact that at theatres it's live. If you make a mistake, everyone's going to see the mistake, you know, so you have to be able to think on your feet and be able to cover that mistake without the audience knowing that you made a mistake.
I get what you're saying.
If it's like a screen, I make a mistake, they cut. I mean, it costs more money to do retakes, so you don't want to be doing that, but you know in the back of your mind, if I do this wrong or I fumbled on a line, we can do this again.
I get what you're saying. Well, you know what it's like when you get on stage at a poetry night, bro. You make that one little cock up, and that could be your whole poem dead. Just because you keep on thinking, damn it, I bug it up, what to do. So on stage acting, that's a whole other level completely, especially when you could have like, say, maybe 1,000 people each paid 40 quid to come and see
exactly.
you. You can't stand on stage and be like, give me 5 minutes. You have to be shit hot. And you have to make them say, all right, we'll come again. And do it.
One thing I've found from working on stage is that the people who you're on stage with are the people you need to be like. You need to be like this. You need to be a family with your people you're working with. Only because if you at any stage drop the ball, they have to be ready at any stage to pick up the ball from where you dropped it, so they can keep the show moving. Otherwise, the show will drop there.
Like teamwork.
Yeah.
All right. When was the last time you had like where you were able to do any kind of like theatre stuff?
It's been probably, when did I leave Identity? About 3 years ago, probably. But I am writing a play at this moment in time.
Okay. Can you give away what the play's about at all?
It's actually changed from when I last spoke to you, actually. But I'm not sure if I can mention it on the podcast.
If you have to think about it, then rather not, I'd say, bro. Well, we have a few things to pick up after the podcast, bro. Luckily.
But also, I was going to mention about your book. Was it self-published or?
Self-published, man. Yeah, dude. So basically, I literally just went to some company, got them. I got mates of mine who designed the album cover on my other album to help me design this. Shout out to Claudio. And basically, getting that made, I don't even think he charged me to do the cover. So that was for free. And then to get the book printed cost me about, to get 20 copies was £38 or something like that. Which ain't bad, bro. Then I was selling them for like $5 each, you make money back. And then I think to get the book converted to be able to go into ebook, that cost me I think £100. Because then the dude had to do all sorts of stuff with it, and I think I paid for a spell check actually. I paid for a spell check as well, and that cost me about 100 quid. This time around I'm just sending it to my sister. She's going to uni and that, you know what I mean? She can have a look. And then I'm not going to pay 150 quid for somebody to spell check me.
Yeah, I hear that.
And then on the back there's a word, there's not even a spelling mistake, there's a missed word where it says this book poetry instead of this book of poetry. And that's stuck like that forever, man. So you know what I mean?
You pay for a spell check as well.
Pay for people, bro. I paid good hard-earned money, and then they cock it up. And it's at the back, it's a black, the back thing which you have to read to understand
the blurb, like
the blurb, that's the word. And so the first thing they're going to see, this poet can't even bloody write. You literally can't even write the thing at the back here.
And it was a spell check.
Hence, I haven't blown up just yet, bro. I mean, the new book's going to have to be perfect in terms of spelling.
Are you self-publishing that one, or are you going through one of the other?
Self-publish it, dude. You know why? It's because so I'm looking at stuff. All you really have to do is get your ISBN number for your barcode. That's the main thing, so that you can track it. And then getting it on Kindle, and that is like free to get it onto Kindle. It's just about getting it converted. I'm going to do it independently, just as I mentioned. It's called Sugar, and it's got a lot of controversial stuff in it. And I think it's got a lot of stuff which maybe I would imagine companies might not want to have recognized next to the name. We have a culture of deplatforming and stuff like that, just because somebody might have a not left-wing point of view.
Although there is the poetry publishers, I think what they call Bad Betty Press.
Oh yeah. I've heard about Bad Betty. Yeah, man. Look, all that kind of stuff is really appealing to me, but also coming off the back of the hip-hop thing. When I was still, really wanting to be a rapper, and that I was really modeling myself off of a model technique and the whole independence and being in charge of your own money. Go into Sony and piss in the elevator and all like all those kinds of lyrics. And so I think being independent is a really good kind of way to keep a hold of your stuff. The only thing is that sometimes signing up to a publisher or something like that could open up a lot of doors, and it could get me into literary festivals. It could get my book into Waterstones, and sometimes you might have to do that. The only thing I'm afraid of is because this book has been written in the spirit of provoking people to have debate. You often hear me at night say, if anybody disagrees with me, come talk to me, whatever. In this book, I've got an email address set up where if there's anything people disagree with me or they think I'm wrong or being bigoted, then I'll ask them to please contact me. And then that's going to go into the follow-up book, where it's going to be stuff I'm challenged on off of this. And so the thing is that the whole book, the point of the book is that it's supposed to be controversial, so I just worry about any kind of bigger publisher kind of saying, censor this, censor that, when I'd much rather just give the middle finger to everybody like I'm planning. Basically, irrespective of your demographic, you get a middle finger. in this. There are no holds barred,
I hear what
basically.
you mean. It means that you have kind of your own platform. You can do whatever you want, as opposed to a publisher, a specific publisher, and they're like, well, hang on, we like it, but there's this part here that we're not sure about, and then you have to go back and do revisions.
And nobody wants to do that, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody, especially now with like censorship and fake news and all that kind of stuff, people I think are even more kind of incentivized to be like, this is exactly what I said, this is exactly my points of view, do not misquote me, this, do not misrepresent me, this, and that's the nice thing about, and the double-edged sword of a book and poetry is that first of all you can get down exactly what you're saying into the black and white there, but at the exact same time any old person can take just one line and say this is what you said and take it up, and then you really have to be like, well, let me get let me prove you wrong. And this is what you see happens with people in TV and on the news, what we were talking about earlier all the time, is people getting misquoted. So as soon as we put our words out there, they can do whatever they want with them, and they can Photoshop and do whatever. But at least it's in black and white for people to see. And hopefully the whole aim of it is it's going to get people talking. I think we ended up in the political situations in right now because people were afraid to say their points of views. They went and expressed themselves in a voting booth. And if we could have had these kind of debates, as you said, 2 years ago, maybe we'd be in a lot healthier situation politically right now.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm hoping to I speak about like racism, feminism, religion, abortion, all sorts of stuff that's going to piss people off. Hopefully, white privilege, everything.
But it's also good though, because while I think written word is the only form of word that kind of, one, stands the test of time, and also it's the only thing that's evolving, you know? Mm-hmm. Like everything else is not really evolving that much. If the words are making people talk about things, then it's a good thing.
Yeah, man.
Because we should be talking about these things. You know?
We should be having these conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it takes like something like poetry to get people to start speaking, because like, and don't get me wrong, I think that there are a lot of people in public life and they're trying to have good, genuine, honest debates. And I'm quite a big fan of Russell Brand with his Under the Skin podcast. He gets all sorts of different pokes with all sorts of different, country points of views. But I think that's more stuff obviously needs to be done. And in the poetry world, I find it to be, for as much as what there are extremely open-minded people, a lot more open-minded than where I find in general life, I also find it to be extremely left-leaning, which is why I think having a point of view that isn't necessarily super left-wing, but classically liberal in the sense, I think could also be something to help me stand out a little bit. You know what I mean? In this day and age where there's tons and tons and tons of really pristine, talented poets. It's not just good poets, there's lots and lots of brilliant poets. Being a brilliant poet ain't enough, man. You've got to be a brilliant poet and have something else going about you as well. And maybe I'm just not good enough. That's a little soft dig there. But the point that I'm making is that because the bar has been set so high, simply being good ain't enough anymore.
No, of course,
You've got to have all sorts of stuff going for you, man.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think content is a nice, easy segue into making yourself different. Like, all right, let me speak about what people aren't.
It's kind of like, if you want to think about it, poetry is kind of like the reverse of what hip-hop used to be.
Okay. Yeah.
Because back in the day, we used to love this lyrical content. That's all we used to want. If you weren't lyrical, then go to the curb, bro. We don't want to hear you. Nowadays, all we want to hear about is the music that just they're just talking about three subjects and
drugs, women.
Yeah, drugs, women, and making money.
And dude, it's painful.
Yeah,
it's painful, bro. And they'll literally drink a load of cough syrup.
In the Royal Festival Hall. The performance will continue in 5 minutes.
Will it?
Right. Will it though? That's the thing, is that they'll just drink loads of cough syrup, dumb themselves down, make songs about absolutely dumb shit.
Yeah.
But the problem, dude, is that people dig it. Is that it ain't the rap, and this is what I think people miss out, dude. It isn't the supply, it's also the demand.
Yeah.
Because there's dope rappers out there, man. J. Cole's done some good positive stuff. Pusha T has some good stuff. Logic has some good stuff. There's lots of good Akala, Low-Key. There's lots of good conscious rappers out there. But the market is saying we want dumb shit.
Yeah.
Basically, bro. That's what it seems like in any case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is that guy? Lil Pump or whatever his name.
Pump or whatever.
Lil Pump.
Gucci gang.
Bro, have you ever actually listened to Gucci Gang, the song? Have you ever listened to it? I just listened to it for an experiment, right? It's a 2-minute song where 90% of the song the lyrics is just Gucci Gang. For 90% of the song, he's just saying Gucci Gang. And I'm just sat there and I was just like...
And people feel it, bro.
People love this.
They love it, dude. They dance, they jump up and down for it.
Like, but all he says is Gucci Gang repeatedly.
Yeah.
Like, so I could just be like saying, sitting on a chair, sitting on a chair, sitting on a chair. Hey,
sitting on a chair.
Sitting on a chair. Because I'm comfortable. Hey. Sitting on a chair, sitting on a chair, sitting on a chair.
Hey, something like that. There's your new banger. That's how you make it. That's how you make it.
You know?
Just record what you just did right now, throwing some like cheesy little like some other little noise that people hear, some rocking.
Bass, get some 808s in
loads
there.
of bass. Loads of bass.
Boom, that's it. Good.
And then you're fine. Then you're sorted, man. Then you can get famous in this day and age. It's like, and I do get cynical where I say it's like dumb music made for dumb people. But straight up, bro, like, it really is a sign. Like, think of back in the day, like Bohemian Rhapsody and Stairway to Heaven and all that kind of stuff. And even just old school rap. When I was a kid, I'll wait till she's over. So when I was a kid living in South Africa, and I bought Dr. Dre's Chronic album, all of a sudden, even early in that, my old man got me like an NWA album or something like that. All of a sudden, you were able to literally get a snapshot of this culture. And don't get me wrong, that wasn't all conscious music, but it wasn't all dumb shit either. And I could actually, to a certain degree, understand what is going on in America and in their lives.
Visualize it,
You can visualize it, and there was substance, and it was a good story, and there was stuff to it. And yes, there was some dumb shit, and you had the car bomb and all that skip. But nowadays, it feels like you really have to try hard to get something good thrown away. Otherwise, it's just some loads of hi-hats.
Because I mean, bullshit. Like, even like the rappers that weren't so like super lyrical, like think of people like Ludacris, he is lyrical, but he's not super lyrical.
It's more like his style and his flow.
But even him, he was making songs about something,
actual things,
you know?
About actual things. And that's it. And which is why he was allowed to have songs like having hoes in different area codes, because he also had good songs.
Yeah.
These guys don't have any, they just have shit music. And the hoes in area codes was a bump. That was catchy. That was catchy. I used to sing along to that, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Yeah.
But you can even listen to for me the prime example has got to be Gangstar, bro. Guru was on some shit back then, bro.
Yeah.
And he was there, and even with his Jazz Tab albums, Moments for Truth, all that, there was real hip hop. There was real, and of course everybody's each generation has got their own attachments to songs and their own nostalgia, blah, 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 blah. But for real, dude, if you have to listen to that guy, and then if you have to go listen to like Extensiqueen or whatever his name was, no, they're not even the same kind of music anymore. It's just dudes who rap. Saying that they're into hip hop, but they mumble their shit as they're going on. Like when I rap and I play guitar, I'll be playing guitar, my acoustic stuff. It's all quite philosophical, or whatever, some love things, whatever. I pretty much.
That's the 1 minute one.
Is that the 1 minute? Alright, I'll be quick. I'll get this pointing quick. And the thing is that where was our music? Good music.
Anti-mumble rap.
Anti-mumble rap dudes will mumble their words.
You do your acoustic music.
Oh yeah. Sorry. All right. So let me get this before the 1 minute is up. So when I'll be doing my acoustic music and rapping, I view that being the same distance away from hip hop as mumble rap. Where like all that doing is rapping over some beat that ain't boom bap. That certainly ain't a hip hop beat that he's rapping over. And what I'm doing is rapping using the same art form as rapping over something that definitely isn't a hip hop beat. It's acoustic guitar. It's literally it's two branches off of the same thing, but neither of them. That's why I don't call myself hip hop. I just say I rap and I do guitar. And that's why those dudes shouldn't dare call themselves rappers, because they're just doing dumb shit, bro. And maybe I'm just a bit of a 30-year-old man who doesn't like the young kids,
maybe,
but for real,
maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just an old cat.
Okay, it's like that South Park episode.
Oh,
I know, right?
The performance is about to continue.
Is it?
It's that South Park episode where all the music sounds like farts. So what's his name's dad, bro?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm an old fart. And it's the truth they do, like. But also, you know, then I listen to when Pusha T put out Daytona last year. It was like 7 tracks, and I loved it, bro. And I'm not even into like the whole commercial vibe, but I thought, wow, this is fire, bro.
Yeah.
All of J. Cole's stuff, I think, is fire, bro. Logic, all the stuff he puts out, I think, is fire. Kendrick Lamar goes without saying.
Even Nipsey Hussle,
dude, rest in peace, dude. Yes, the thing is that there are lots of new school cats doing fire music, bruh. So you can't even blame it on a generational thing. Because it's not even like it's a young cat. Young cats are making dope music. It's some stupid fucking dickheads making dumb music trying to say, but it's because you're younger. Nah, man, it's because you're shit. That's why you're making shit. And people are dumb. That's why they're buying your album.
And they love the dumb shit. Like.
It's another Immortal Technique quote where he said, if 1 million people buy like If a million people buy your album, it's got nothing to do with luck. It just means that a million people are stupid as fuck. And that's a straight up honest truth to it, bro. Is that like just because loads of people are feeling your stuff, yeah, I wish I could be in your position. But I also know they're feeling your music because they probably just want something mindless to escape reality to, not because you've got substance to what you're saying, man. And it's a joke, bro. And it's sad if you think that. And I think that's probably connected to a direction society's going in, where we're more about escapism than stimulating our kind of minds. We don't want to stimulate that stuff. We want to escape. And that's why I think music is taking a dive. Not all, but like, just in my opinion, hip hop at least, I'd say, bro.
Well, you have to say hip hop because hip hop is pop music now.
True. It's in the,
that's what I mean. All pop means is popular music. Hip hop is pop music.
It's here with Katy Perry and Justin Bieber. It's the exact same kettle of fish.
So it's worth talking about because it's these guys who are frontlining hip hop nowadays are what people. What the kids are listening to.
Kids are going to think these guys are rappers. And a lot of them I never heard of, bro. When I see they're like, when XXL does their like the Young Cats for the year, whatever, I don't recognize anybody, dude.
For the last couple of years, I've just been zoning out. There's no point.
And a lot of them look the same. They're all on the same vibe. They all got some dumb kind of emo. They look depressed as whole millennial kind of Generation Z looking thing. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, surely we could. Although there definitely wasn't much variety in the golden era either. They're all wearing baggy clothes and hip hop. So I suppose styles changed. But I just think and hip hop is also its own kind of creature. I think where hip hop is, so it's popular music now. But I think where hip hop has always been very distinct to other music is just the interaction within hip hop that you see having. You never see, or as far as what I know, you never see country, western, or pop singers release diss tracks on other pop singers. Or get involved or have so much behind the music beef. It's like hip hop is a culture.
Hip hop is it's like kind of like reality TV, and someone was talking to me about actually at work. I was speaking this about. It's like hip hop is reality TV nowadays. Like if you think about it,
literally reality TV.
We care. We care about so much about their lives. Are you on 20%, guy? But
it is. It's all about.
We're so incorporated much more in their lives than their music.
That's true. And it's sad, dude. There's some dudes whose music I don't even listen to all that much anymore. But because you see news stories on them, it seems as though, like, meanwhile, I'm like there's Karski, a dude called Karski. I follow him on Instagram. I listen to a lot of his music. He's dope. But a lot of the time, I'll be like, shit, I haven't listened to this guy all year. But you feel like you have just because you're on his Instagram or doing whatever, and it's really become more about the personality. Like, who's this person that you're busy following, and not so much their music's dope. That's why I like them. Little Dicky and guys like that that manage to build up a good off of who they are as a people. And then he's a dope rapper as well. So it works, I suppose, for him. But
let's round this up because my battery's running low.
Great chat, dude. Yeah, man, before your battery runs out, bro, I think we've talked that.
Let's call this the end of the show.
Cheers, man.
Thank you very much. Have you got anything to promote, anything to plug, that anywhere you're going to be?
You know what, dude? Tomorrow night, I'm at a friend of mine, Joe's open mic in Peckham, at the Prince of Peckham, and just playing some music there. And then, my new book, as I said, it's called Trigger. My name's Ro Raps. It's probably only going to come out end of April, maybe even a little bit later. And then, man, if you're down at Brighton Fringe Festival in May, look out for Unnatural. And, man, hit me up, Real Ro Raps on my IG and all that.
I'll put all the information in the description.
And thank you very much.
You'll be posted on the Instagram page and everything, and I'll share you out there.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate you having me. Bro. This was a really nice chat.
Oh, thank you, man. And that's the end. Bye.
Bye-bye.